Just started university, and my beautiful tutor turns out to be the mother of my child. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26, A Gift for You. After dinner, Zhang Yuxi took a shower, wrapped her hair, and returned to the room. Wife, come here quickly. What's wrong? Do you want to blow my hair? No. Lin Feng took out a bag from his back and said with a smile, this is a gift for you. Gift? Zhang Yuxi was a little confused. But seeing Lin Feng's ambiguous look, she couldn't help but open it. She saw that there was a pajamas in the bag. However, the style. There's something. Zhang Yuxi's pretty face flushed instantly, revealing a shy expression. You. Why did you buy this kind of thing? Of course it's for you, my wife. Lin Feng hurriedly stuffed the clothes into Zhang Yuxi's hands and urged, hurry up and change. 2 o'clock in the morning. Zhang Yuxi was tired and lying on the bed, still savoring the dinner today. The taste and the texture were really amazing. Husband, your cooking skills tonight are really great. Lin Feng smiled, stroked Zhang Yuxi's hair, and said softly, if you like, I will cook for you every day in the future. Zhang Yuxi thought about it and actually directly reported the names of tomorrow's dishes. In that case, I want to eat garlic pork, vinegar potato shreds, and pepper and salt spare ribs tomorrow. As soon as these names were mentioned, Zhang Yuxi felt a little hungry. But after thinking carefully, Zhang Yuxi felt that she was a little too much. After all, Lin Feng was already busy taking care of 4 children. She still wanted him to prepare lunch for her. Honey, I'm just talking casually. I'll just order takeout tomorrow. Lin Feng smiled and showed a doting expression. What's the big deal? It's just a few dishes. Tomorrow morning, I'll make it for you and you can take it to school. Hearing this, Zhang Yuxi was moved and happy. Honey, you are so good to me. After that, Zhang Yuxi came over and gave Lin Feng a kiss. The two continued to communicate. 7 o'clock in the morning. Zhang Yuxi was still sleeping, and Lin Feng had woken up early. He first ran to the next door to change the baby's diapers, then walked into the kitchen and started cooking. With his god-level cooking skills, cooking a few home-cooked dishes is as easy as drinking water. Cut potatoes, chop ribs, put the 2-knife meat into the pot and stew. Before long, 3 delicious dishes were ready. After finishing these 3 dishes, Lin Feng cut some fruits and prepared to make a fruit salad. Finally, he looked at the time. It was almost time to wake up his wife. Wife, the sun is shining on your butt, why don't you get up? Lin Feng walked into the bedroom and called softly. Hearing this, Zhang Yuxi rubbed her sleepy eyes and sat up from the bed. Morning, husband. Lin Feng smiled, morning. Soon, Zhang Yuxi finished washing up. She came to the living room and smelled the fragrance of food. At this time, Lin Feng was packing her lunch and putting the dishes prepared in the morning into the lunchbox. Honey, what did you make for me? It smells so good. Lin Feng smiled and said without turning his head, guess. Zhang Yuxi came over and looked at it, and immediately showed a surprised expression. Honey, you really made those 3 dishes. I was just talking about it last night. Although she said so, Zhang Yuxi was still very touched. But at the same time, she felt a little regretful. Lin Feng was already very hardworking in taking care of the baby. She was still causing trouble for him. Zhang Yuxi hugged Lin Feng tightly from behind and said with emotion, honey, you are so good to me. Lin Feng smiled softly and said, you are my wife. If I don't treat you well, who can I treat well? Yangcheng University. Teacher's office. Because a teacher research meeting was to be held in the afternoon, there was only a half-hour break at noon. The teachers in the school all wanted to go out and just eat a few bites. Teacher Zhang, what are you eating for lunch? How about we go to the school gate and have a bowl of noodles? Tang Zifang and Han Wen came over and said. Zhang Yuxi shook her head and took out 2 lunchboxes from the cabinet. My husband prepared a lunchbox for me. Seeing this, Han Wen's nose wrinkled immediately. Kill the dog, showing off your love in broad daylight. Tang Zifan said enviously, it's great to have a considerate husband. Zhang Yuxi opened the lunchbox, and the aroma of food immediately filled the entire office. Everyone's appetite was aroused by the smell. This smell is so fragrant. There is actually garlic pork, my favorite. This pepper and salt spare ribs looks good too. I'm so envious. Teacher Zhang is so happy. Other teachers in the office also showed envious expressions. At this time, Tang Zifan and Han Wen had already come over and stared at the food on the lunchbox. Although it was a bit impolite, the gluttony in their stomachs was too strong. Both of them couldn't help swallowing their saliva. Han Wen decided to be a shameless person. Teacher Zhang, can I have a taste? Zhang Yuxi knew that she was a foodie, so she smiled and nodded. Han Wen immediately picked up the chopsticks, picked up a piece of ribs and started to eat. It was crispy and meaty. Han Wen's eyes widened immediately and she said to Tang Zifang, Teacher Tang, come here. Tang Zifan was a little embarrassed, but seeing Han Wen's exaggerated expression, she also picked up a piece and started to eat. Han Wen hurriedly asked, how is it? Very good, right? Tang Zifang gnawed the bone, as if she was still savoring the fragrance just now. Well, it's really good. She is really getting more and more envious now that Teacher Zhang can find such a husband who loves her and cares for her. Think about the one in her family. It's really a case of comparing goods and throwing them away, and comparing people and dying. Han Wen looked at the other lunchbox and couldn't help asking, Teacher Zhang, what's in the other lunchbox? Zhang Yuxi smiled and opened the other lunchbox. It was filled with all kinds of fruits. Strawberries, cherries, grapes. Seeing this, Zhang Yuxi seemed to be able to hear the sound of Han Wen secretly swallowing her saliva. How about, let's eat together? Zhang Yuxi suggested. The lunch Lin Feng prepared for her was very filling. But it was still a bit of a stretch for 3 people, so Han Wen also ordered a takeout. The 3 of them started eating. No comparison, no harm. Compared with takeout, the bento Lin Feng made was simply a delicacy. Even the soup from the garlic pork was taken by Han Wen to soak rice. Oh my god, I'm so full. I really want to eat such delicious food every day. Tang Zifan thought so in her heart, but she was not like Han Wen, who said everything. Mr. Lin's cooking skills have improved rapidly. Although the previous time was also delicious. But it was not as delicious as today, which made people crazy. Then you are free. You can come to our house for dinner often. Zhang Yuxi said politely. Who knew that Han Wen and Tang Zifang said in unison? Okay, then tonight. Chapter 27 Reward, a BMW. After school, Tang Zifang and Han Wen followed Zhang Yuxi to Rongte Mansion. They were carrying a bag full of ingredients. They were obviously here for Lin Feng's cooking skills. After Lin Feng learned about this, a helpless expression suddenly appeared on his face. It seems that he can no longer show off his skills casually in the future. Otherwise, if everyone comes to his house for dinner, he will be exhausted. But no matter how helpless he was, the dishes still had to be cooked. Zhang Yuxi brought 2 teachers to the living room to entertain the 4 babies. Lin Feng was busy in the kitchen. Half an hour later, Lin Feng prepared a table full of dishes. With the praise of Tang Zifang and Han Wen, the 2 began to cook crazily. In less than a moment, all 10 dishes were eaten clean, without even a residue left. If you don't have mysophobia, you can just wipe the plates with a paper towel and put them back in the cupboard. After a meal, the relationship between the few people became much closer. Han Wen sat on the sofa, burped with satisfaction, and gave Lin Feng a thumbs up. Chef Lin, your cooking skills are really top-notch. But why didn't I notice that your cooking is so delicious last time? Yes, it's true that after 3 days of separation, one should look at each other with new eyes. Tang Zifang also praised while wiping her mouth. Hearing the 2 people praising her husband, Zhang Yuxi also showed a proud smile. She rarely opened her heart to strangers. So when she grew up, she only had Lan as a friend. But now, suddenly there are 2 more colleagues, Tang Zifang and Han Wen, who can talk about everything. Zhang Yuxi was also very happy in her heart. Teacher Zhang, Mr. Lin. It's quite late now, we won't bother you. They continued to chat for a while. Tang Zifang and Han Wen did not stay any longer, but got up and left. Seeing Zhang Yuxi's reluctant look, Lin Feng teased, why, are you reluctant? Well, this time, Zhang Yuxi was not restrained, but nodded silently. But soon, she returned to her normal look and said with emotion. Before, I didn't know how to get along with them, and I was afraid of being talked about by them. But now it seems that I was overthinking. They are both very nice people. Lin Feng scratched her nose and smiled. You always tend to think too much? Zhang Yuxi pouted, a little embarrassed. In the evening, Zhang Yuxi found the baby's vaccination book. The baby will soon be 6 months old. It is necessary to go to a nearby hospital to get the third dose of hepatitis B vaccine and some other vaccines. Husband, shall we take the baby to get vaccinated tomorrow? Okay. Lin Feng took the vaccination book, looked at it carefully, and then said, I can't believe that the baby is almost 6 months old. Time flies. Looking at the vaccination book, Lin Feng thought of another important thing. Wife, does the baby want to celebrate his half-year birthday? The 100-day banquet is not held, so let's celebrate the baby's half-year birthday, how about it? Lin Feng asked excitedly. Zhang Yuxi was a little hesitant when she heard this. Let's talk about it later. Okay. Lin Feng nodded, and did not notice Zhang Yuxi's abnormality. No words were spoken all night. The next day, Lin Feng assembled a stroller. He took Zhang Yuxi and the 4 babies to the hospital. Although they came very early, the hospital was still crowded, and they had to queue up to get a number. Seeing this, Lin Feng immediately lined up behind the line. Fortunately, there were not many people in the line, and according to the time, it should be their turn soon. After all, the weather is still very hot now. If it is later, when the sun rises, the babies will suffer. By the way, wife, did you give the babies the hepatitis B vaccine before? Did they have a fever? Lin Feng asked Zhang Yuxi beside him. Every baby needs to be vaccinated with hepatitis B vaccine when he is born. In the 1st and 6th months, the 2nd and 3rd shots of hepatitis B vaccine are required. Because the baby has poor resistance, there is a possibility of fever after the hepatitis B vaccine. Moreover, when the baby is about to turn 6 months old, in addition to the hepatitis B vaccine, a group A meningococcal vaccine is also required. Lin Feng was still quite worried about the 2 shots of vaccine in a row. Zhang Yuxi thought for a while and then said, Dabao and Erbao are fine, but Sanbao and Sabao had a little fever at that time, but it subsided quickly. Hearing this, Lin Feng nodded and said, that's not a big problem. After taking the number, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi brought the 4 babies to the vaccination room. After waiting for about half an hour, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi were a little anxious. Now the baby is still sleeping. Taking advantage of this gap, they can quickly get them vaccinated. If the baby wakes up and sees the pointed needle, I'm afraid he will cry loudly. But fortunately, when it was their turn to get the vaccine, the babies were still awake. 4 babies, first give Dabao and Erbao the vaccine, and then give Sanbao and Sabao the vaccine. Lin Feng picked up Dabao, and Zhang Yuxi took off his clothes, revealing his chubby little arms. Dabao has always been the most stable, and she looks fearless. After getting 2 shots of the vaccine, she didn't even make a sound. Dabao is great. Zhang Yuxi quickly dressed Dabao and put her back in the stroller. Then she picked up Erbao. Although Erbao was brave, she was a girl after all. As soon as she took off her clothes and saw the doctor holding a needle, she immediately burst into tears. Woo, woo. Erbao cried so sadly that no matter how Zhang Yuxi coaxed her, it didn't work. But fortunately, she still cooperated with the doctor and got 2 shots of the vaccine. Next, it was Sanbao, the most timid one. As soon as she was picked up, Sanbao opened her eyes, pursed her little mouth, and burst into tears. Seeing this, Lin Feng quickly took out a prepared bottle, put it in Sanbao's mouth, and coaxed Sanbao, baby, don't cry, it will be over soon. Although she was very scared, Sanbao immediately calmed down after getting the bottle, biting the pacifier and sucking continuously. After 2 shots, Sanbao didn't move at all. It seems that he will definitely be a foodie in the future. The next Sabao is much easier. You don't even need to pick him up. Just pull his clothes down. While he's sleeping soundly, quickly give him 2 shots. The good thing about Sabao is that he doesn't cry or to make a fuss. He likes to sleep all day. After giving the 4 babies vaccinations, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi put the babies back in their original positions. Then they pushed them out of the hospital. But at this moment, ding, because the host took the baby to get vaccinated, he fulfilled his father's responsibility. A BMW 320i is rewarded. Note, the vehicle has been safely transferred, and the compulsory traffic insurance, vehicle damage insurance, and third-party liability insurance have all been purchased. As soon as the system finished speaking, a bunch of car keys appeared in Lin Feng's pocket. BMW 320i? Lin Feng had known about this model before. It seems to cost more than 300,000. For an ordinary family, It is already a very good car. System, where did you park the car? Lin Feng asked in his heart. The car is parked in the parking lot on the first floor below the hospital. The license plate number is UA2BJ41. After hearing this, Lin Feng began to think. What kind of reason should he find to explain the existence of this car to his wife? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 Brother-in-law, I want to go to your house for dinner. Lin Feng frowned and thought for a while. Suddenly he thought of a perfect excuse. Wife, I want to tell you something, don't get excited. Zhang Yuxi saw Lin Feng suddenly call her, and her expression was a little confused. What's the matter? Lin Feng took a deep breath and said in an orderly manner. Before, didn't my distant relative leave a house for me? But yesterday, a lawyer suddenly called me. He told me that my relative not only left a house for me, he also left a car for me. Now they drove the car over and parked it in the parking lot of the hospital. After hearing this, Zhang Yuxi was stunned for a moment, and then showed an unbelievable expression. Your relative is too good to you, right? Yes, I didn't expect it. Lin Feng laughed and hurriedly changed the subject. Let's go to the parking lot and take a look. Yes. Zhang Yuxi nodded. She has always chosen to believe in Lin Feng's words unconditionally. Lin Feng was also very moved by this. The two pushed the stroller and took the elevator to the underground first floor of the hospital. The hospital parking lot is very large. There were all kinds of cars parked inside. Lin Feng took out a key and followed the sound for a long time, and finally found the car rewarded by the system. This is a white BMW 320i. The whole body is waxed, and the windows are also specially customized. It looks much more upscale than the same type of BMW. Zhang Yuxi also showed a satisfied expression when she saw the car. This car is perfect for young people like them. It looks handsome and powerful. And there is enough space inside, which can accommodate 4 children. Isn't this car cheap? Zhang Yuxi opened the door and looked at the decoration inside. It's okay, only about 300,000. Lin Feng said, and put the 4 babies in the back seat of the car one by one. The system is also very considerate and installed a baby seat in the back. After the baby sat on it, there was no discomfort. Even the second baby who loves to make trouble sat obediently in his seat, without making any noise, staring at the surroundings with his little eyes. Can you drive? Zhang Yuxi suddenly asked. Lin Feng nodded and smiled confidently, of course. Then, the car drove out of the parking lot like a snail. At first, Lin Feng was not very skilled. But as time went by, the speed of the car slowly increased. On the way back, Zhang Yuxi kept looking at the back seat to observe the movements of the babies. Seeing that they were sleeping soundly, Zhang Yuxi also smiled. Wife, how about we go to school and take a ride? Lin Feng suddenly suggested. He had not been to school for nearly half a month. Now that he had a car, of course he had to go to school to take a look and fulfill his previous wish. Okay. Zhang Yuxi nodded. But soon, she became anxious again. But, won't we be discovered? It's okay, wife. I'll close the car window when we get to school. Lin Feng said carelessly. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Zhang Yuxi finally felt relieved. 10 minutes later, Lin Feng drove to the gate of Yangcheng University. Since it was just after school, the entrance was a little congested, so Lin Feng's car stopped. Many sharp-eyed classmates were surprised to see Zhang Yuxi in the passenger seat. Hey, isn't this teacher Zhang? Oh, who's driving? Could it be her husband? He looks so young and handsome. Why do I think this person looks familiar? Yes, I also think he looks familiar, as if I've seen him somewhere. Who is he? Passing classmates saw Zhang Yuxi in the car and started to talk about it. Zhang Yuxi saw that the situation was not good, and hurriedly urged Lin Feng to roll up the window. But at this moment, Tang Zifeng was driving the car, preparing to take Han Wen out for dinner. The two of them also saw Zhang Yuxi in the passenger seat and hurriedly shouted, Teacher Zhang. Zhang Yuxi raised her head, and her hand that was about to press the window also stopped. Seeing this, Lin Feng hurriedly activated the change appearance skill and aimed at Tang Zifeng and Han Wen. Seeing Lin Feng and his partner, Tang Zifeng and Han Wen came out of the car. They walked over and looked at Lin Feng's new car carefully. Teacher Zhang, is this your new car? Han Wen said in surprise. Yes. Zhang Yuxi nodded, looking a little overwhelmed. Teacher Zhang, you are so lucky to have found such a good husband. Tang Zifang couldn't help but exclaimed. Lin Feng was a little embarrassed by Tang Zifang's praise. At this time, Han Wen put her head into the window and said to Lin Feng, Brother-in-law, can I still go to your house for dinner tonight? Since the meal yesterday, Han Wen has been thinking about it and can't forget it. So the name for Lin Feng was changed from Teacher Zhang's husband to brother-in-law. The purpose is to get closer to him so that he can enjoy a good meal. Hearing this name, Lin Feng was a little confused for a while. Zhang Yuxi smiled, turned her head and said to Han Wen, okay. Then I'll go buy vegetables with Teacher Tang first, and I'll find you later. After Han Wen finished speaking, she pulled Tang Zifang back into the car. On the way to the vegetable market. Teacher Zhang's new car should not be cheap, right? Han Wen turned her head and asked Tang Zifang. It seems to be a BMW 320i, which costs more than 300,000. Tang Zifang was knowledgeable and immediately quoted the price of the car. Hearing that it would cost more than 300,000, Han Wen's eyes widened and she was surprised. It's so expensive. I heard from other teachers before that Teacher Zhang lived a very tight life. In order to raise 4 babies, she saved money everywhere. But now, not only does she have a house, but she also has a car. It's really enviable. Back home. Lin Feng first put the baby back in the room, and then ran to the kitchen to get busy. Tonight, it's another day to cook for 3 women. Half an hour later, Tang Zifan and Han Wen came to the door with 2 large bags of ingredients. Brother-in-law, I want to eat squirrel mandarin fish tonight, and the salt and pepper sparrows you made last time. Tang Zifan glared at her, indicated that she should be more reserved. Han Wen curled her lips, indicating that for the sake of food, it is okay not to be reserved. Lin Feng smiled helplessly and nodded in agreement. Okay. Han Wen said sweetly. Brother-in-law is the best. Lin Feng felt a little scared when he heard it. You know, Han Wen is a hot-tempered female teacher in school. Unexpectedly, Han Wen, who has a hot temper on the podium, is so quirky in private. If she knew that the brother-in-law she mentioned was actually her student, what kind of expression would she have? Chapter 29, True Face Revealed. In the kitchen, Lin Feng took out a mandarin fish. First, he removed the scales, then cut open the belly and took out the internal organs. Then he removed the leather on the head, cut off the fish head, and used a knife to remove the fish bones on the back of the fish. After completing these steps, Lin Feng then spread the mandarin fish with the skin facing down, and then cut it into flower-shaped cuts with an oblique knife. This set of movements was smooth and flowing. Han Wen and Tang Zifan were both stunned. In less than 5 minutes, Lin Feng had finished processing the squirrel mandarin fish. This skillful technique is probably difficult to match even for the chefs in the restaurant. Brother-in-law, your knife skills are really amazing. You didn't graduate from New Oriental, did you? Han Wen couldn't help but joked. After hearing this, Lin Feng smiled and didn't respond. In fact, he really wanted to say that I actually didn't graduate from Yangcheng University. You guys step back, I'm going to fry the fish. Lin Feng said to the 2 of them. Then, he poured oil into the pot. When the oil temperature was about 70% hot, Lin Feng dipped the mandarin fish in a little starch, put it in the oil pan, and deep fried it for 5 minutes. Wait until the skin is golden and the fish is cooked. Finally, Lin Feng poured out the hot oil, leaving only a little base oil. Then pour the clear soup into the pot, add white vinegar, salt, sugar, tomato sauce and plum sauce. Make the sweet and sour sauce, pour it on the fish, and the delicious squirrel mandarin fish is done. Wife, it's time to eat. Lin Feng brought the last dish of salt and pepper ribs to the table and shouted into the house. Zhang Yuxi had just finished feeding the baby, and hurried over and sat next to Lin Feng. At this time, Han Wen couldn't wait to start eating. She first picked up a piece of squirrel mandarin fish and put it in her mouth to taste it. It melts in your mouth and is full of flavor. Brother-in-law, you cooked this fish really well. Before I met you, I thought my mother's squirrel fish was the best in the world. But now, compared to yours, it's still far behind. Tang Zifang also tasted it and it was really good. As a native of Jiangsu and Zhejiang, she has eaten many different versions of squirrel fish. But the squirrel fish made by Lin Feng is the best version she has ever eaten. Hearing this, Lin Feng smiled and said, "If it tastes good, eat more." As he said that, Lin Feng also picked up a piece of fish and put it in Zhang Yuxi's bowl. Zhang Yuxi smiled and took a bite, and her eyes lit up immediately. "It's delicious." At the dinner table, Han Wen and Zhang Yuxi would praise every dish they ate. Tang Zifan also nodded frequently. Before long, the table of dishes was almost eaten. Finally, Han Wen also made a crazy suggestion. "Brother-in-law, can I pack up all these leftovers and take them away?" Tang Zifan glared at her fiercely when she heard this. It was as if she was saying, "You should have some dignity when you are in someone else's house." But Han Wen curled her lips, saying that compared with delicious food, what's the use of dignity? Lin Feng smiled and nodded helplessly. He took out 2 lunchboxes and packed all the leftover dishes for Han Wen. Han Wen held her cheek and looked at Zhang Yuxi and said, "Teacher Zhang, I really envy you. You found such a handsome husband, and you can eat such delicious food every day. You are really a winner in life." Zhang Yuxi heard this and showed a shy expression. "If you want to eat, you can come often in the future." "Yeah, Teacher Zhang is the best." Han Wen jumped up excitedly. She hurried to Lin Feng and asked him, "Brother-in-law, can I come to your house often for dinner in the future? The dishes you cook are so delicious. I can give you food expenses." Lin Feng was packing for Han Wen when the system's voice suddenly came. "Ling. System prompt, there is 1 minute left before the skill of changing your appearance expires." Lin Feng's expression suddenly became tense when he heard this. He only remembered now that he used the skill of changing your appearance in the afternoon. And the skill has a time limit of 4 hours. Now, there is less than a minute left. We have to pack up quickly. Thinking of this, Lin Feng ignored Han Wen, but sped up the packing speed. There are 35 seconds left before it expires. Lin Feng stuffed the lunchbox into Han Wen's hand. "Teacher Han, the food is packed for you. We have something else to do later, so you can go back first." Seeing Lin Feng's order to leave, Han Wen thought that it was the request she had just made that made Lin Feng angry. Seeing this scene, Zhang Yuxi also showed a puzzled expression. "Okay." Han Wen nodded disappointedly. "There are 15 seconds left before it expires. Then I'll go see the baby again," Han Wen said, and rushed to the baby's room. But Lin Feng stopped her. "Teacher Han, you and Teacher Tang should go back first. The baby has finished his milk and is sleeping now." Even at this point, Tang Zifeng also sensed something unusual in the atmosphere. She hurried forward, took Han Wen's hand, and said goodbye to Lin Feng and the others. 10, 9, 8, Mr. Lin, Teacher Zhang, will leave first. Tang Zifeng was the first to walk out of the room. 5, 4, 3. The door was about to close. Han Wen suddenly turned around and glanced at Lin Feng. At this moment, Lin Feng had just lost the effect of his makeover. Han Wen's mind suddenly flashed. Suddenly, a figure appeared. Chapter 30 Husband, not today. On the way back, Han Wen said to Tang Zifeng, "Teacher Tang, I suddenly felt that Teacher Zhang's husband looked so familiar. He looks very similar to the student named Lin Feng in class 2 of the Chinese department. And it's a coincidence that they both have the last name Lin." Tang Zifeng recalled and shook her head. "It's not that exaggerated, right? The 2 people look a little different." Han Wen thought of the moment before she went out just now. Lin Feng's face was clearly the same as her student. But Tang Zifeng said that there was still a difference in their looks. Han Wen didn't know whether she was confused tonight or Teacher Tang was face blind. Forget it, let's verify it another day. On the other side. Rongtae Mansion, room 808. Zhang Yuxi noticed that Lin Feng's mood just now seemed a little wrong. "Husband, were you angry just now?" After sending Han Wen and Tang Zifeng away, Lin Feng finally breathed a sigh of relief and turned around. "No, why am I angry?" Zhang Yuxi hesitated for a moment and continued. "I thought you were angry because I asked them to come over for dinner more often." Lin Feng walked over, stroked Zhang Yuxi's head, and said softly, "What are you thinking about? Am I such a stingy person as your husband? Then you just... I was just a little tired just now. After all, he was busy all day. In the evening, he had to cook a large table of dishes for 3 women. Even if Lin Feng had high-quality sleep, he couldn't handle it." Zhang Yuxi heard this and showed a guilty expression. "You rest here, I'll wash the dishes." Lin Feng refused. "No, I'll wash it." This time, Zhang Yuxi rarely showed a strong look and pushed Lin Feng back to the sofa. "I'll wash it, you rest." Lin Feng knew that she wanted to do something for him to make up for the guilt in her heart. Lin Feng had no choice but to nod, sit on the sofa and watch TV. Zhang Yuxi went to the bathroom and took a bath quickly. Watching the talk show on TV, Lin Feng looked absent-minded and didn't pay any attention at all. He was thinking about today when the change appearance skill failed. Did Han Wen see him? At that time, the door was about to close. Logically speaking, even if she saw him, it would only be a few seconds. She shouldn't think too much, right? Lin Feng shook his head and regained his composure. Forget it. Even if she saw him, so what? Lin Feng was eager for his identity to be exposed. This way he wouldn't have to hide from the police. Anyway, now he doesn't rely on Zhang Yuxi's salary to live. Zhang Yuxi finished washing the dishes and returned to the living room. Lin Feng waved at her. Wife, come here. What's wrong? Zhang Yuxi sat next to Lin Feng and snuggled in. Wife, I plan to call my parents tomorrow. Tell them that we have a child. After a while, when the baby is half a year old, I plan to invite them over. Zhang Yuxi heard her heartbeat speed up. Are you really going to do this? Lin Feng stroked Zhang Yuxi's back and whispered. What's wrong? Are you afraid that they will have an opinion about you? Zhang Yuxi nodded. Well, after all, I'm a few years older than you, and I'm your teacher. Lin Feng joked. Wife, haven't you heard a saying? What saying? Zhang Yuxi asked curiously. A girl who is 3 years older than you will bring you gold bricks. You are 6 years older than me, so my parents will be so happy. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhang Yuxi punched Lin Feng with a pink fist. HMPH. I'm not going to pay attention to you. Zhang Yuxi got up and walked towards the bedroom. She had not allowed Lin Feng to tell his parents about the two of them before. She was worried that they would have an opinion about her. After all, no matter what, Lin Feng's parents had never seen her. How could she not worry? At night, Lin Feng stuck to Zhang Yuxi. Wife? What's wrong? Feeling the temperature of Lin Feng's body, Zhang Yuxi's pretty face suddenly flushed, and she asked shyly. Lin Feng didn't say anything, but hugged Zhang Yuxi tightly from behind. Zhang Yuxi's body trembled slightly, and she pushed Lin Feng away and said softly, Husband, I can't do it today. Lin Feng didn't understand, thinking that Zhang Yuxi was still angry with him. Wife, I'm sorry. No. I'm having my period. Hearing this, Lin Feng suddenly realized, so it's because of this. Zhang Yuxi blushed and nodded gently. Okay, then let's go to bed. Lin Feng didn't force it anymore, and pulled up the quilt to cover the two of them. Not long after, Lin Feng said again, Wife, does it hurt when a woman has her period? I'm fine, but my lower abdomen will be a little cold. As soon as the voice fell, Lin Feng reached out his hand. It's a bit cold indeed. Wait, I'll get you a hot pack. Lin Feng got up directly, ran to the living room, and found a hot pack from the cupboard. Come on, wife, stick it on your clothes. Lin Feng put the hot pack on Zhang Yuxi's pajamas. A warm feeling came over her instantly, and Zhang Yuxi fell asleep quickly. Lin Feng got up gently and prepared to go to the baby room next door to see how the babies were sleeping. As soon as he left the house, the system's voice came out. Ding. Because the host has taken good care of the baby for 15 days and fulfilled his responsibilities as a father, he will be rewarded with 100,000 yuan in cash. Award, a marrow cleansing pill. Marrow cleansing pill can wash away impurities in the body, exercise the meridians, and gain stronger body functions. May I ask if the host will use it now? Marrow cleansing pills. Lin Feng had heard of them in fairy tales. He didn't expect that such a thing could become a reward from the system. Lin Feng nodded immediately and said to the system, use it now. As soon as he finished speaking, a warm current was injected into Lin Feng's body and began to flow along his internal organs. Then, he felt that his whole body was wrapped in this warm current. Lin Feng felt extremely comfortable all over his body. So cool. This feeling lasted for 10 minutes. Lin Feng originally thought that taking the marrow cleansing pill would cause him to suffer a lot of pain. But now it seems that all the novels about cultivating immortals are lies. Lin Feng slowly opened his eyes and found that the surface of his skin was covered with black substances, like kerosene. He hurried to the bathroom and took a comfortable hot bath. After taking a bath, Lin Feng felt that his body was full of strength and his eyes became sharper. He was originally a little nearsighted, but now he can see things very clearly. Lin Feng's appearance has also been greatly improved. Not only has his face become more angular, but his skin has also become whiter and tenderer. It seems that he has become much stronger in that aspect. Lin Feng walked towards the bedroom with light steps. Before he entered the door, he could sense Zhang Yuxi's breathing in the room, and the sound of 4 babies sleeping in the next room. It seems that this marrow cleansing pill is very effective. Chapter 31. You have a grandson. The next day, Zhang Yuxi woke up. Seeing Lin Feng busy in the kitchen, she suddenly felt a little strange. Although the person was still the same person, she always felt that something was different. Especially his face and facial features, as if he had become more handsome. Lin Feng turned around and saw Zhang Yuxi standing there stupidly, and couldn't help but joked. Wife? Are you fascinated by my handsomeness? Zhang Yuxi's pretty face blushed, and she turned her head and walked towards the bathroom. Shameless. Seeing Zhang Yuxi's shy look, Lin Feng couldn't help but smile. Entering the bathroom, Zhang Yuxi took out a face towel, wiped her face, and muttered in her heart. What happened just now? Why did my heart beat faster when I saw Lin Feng? And I feel that he seems to be much more handsome than before. After washing up, Zhang Yuxi came out of the bathroom and just passed by Lin Feng. She was suddenly stunned for a moment, not knowing if it was an illusion. She felt that Lin Feng seemed to be a little taller than before. She raised her head and looked at Lin Feng. Handsome face, slender figure, and charming smile. Is this really her husband? Zhang Yuxi felt like she was dreaming. Lin Feng naturally saw Zhang Yuxi's strange behavior. Unexpectedly, after taking a marrow cleansing pill last night, even her appearance skyrocketed. It's really distressing. After breakfast, Zhang Yuxi returned to the bedroom to feed the babies. Lin Feng left the restaurant and went to the balcony to call his parents. Although Lin Feng's current parents are not his biological parents, but they raised Lin Feng since he was a child, and Lin Feng also respected them very much. So now that he is married and has 4 babies, Lin Feng feels that it is still necessary to tell them. Beep beep. There was a dialing sound from the phone. Hearing this sound, Lin Feng's breathing quickened and became a little nervous. Just when he was hesitating whether to hang up the phone, the call was connected. Zhang Feng, what's the matter with you? A gentle middle-aged female voice came from the other end of the phone. Lin Feng hesitated for a moment, then said, Nothing, I just wanted to call you. How are you and Dad doing recently? Fine. Lin's mother chuckled and said, How are you doing? Do you still have living expenses? Yes. Lin Feng nodded. Now he not only has living expenses, but also has nearly 1 million in savings. But today, he called home not to chat with them. Instead, he wanted to tell them about Zhang Yuxi. Lin Feng took a deep breath and then said, Mom, is Dad next to you? Yes, do you want to talk to him? Lin's mother said, and called Lin's father over. Mom, turn on the speaker, I want to tell you something. What is it? Why is it so grand? Lin's mother was a little puzzled. But she still turned on the speaker as Lin Feng said, Zhang Feng, I'm turning on the speaker, you can talk. Okay. Then I'll tell you. Lin Feng hesitated for a moment and reminded, Wait. Don't get too excited. There was silence for a few seconds on the other end of the phone. Then, Lin's father's voice came. If you have anything to say it quickly, don't waste time. Lin Feng's actions made them a little nervous. Okay. Lin Feng cleared his throat and said in a deep voice, Dad, Mom, you have grandchildren. And they are quadruplets. As soon as Lin Feng finished speaking, the other end of the phone fell into endless silence. Just when Lin Feng thought that his parents were shocked by the news and was about to comfort them, Lin's mother's voice suddenly came out. Zhang Feng, are you playing games with your friends? Or did you lose a bet? This kind of thing is not a joke. Joking? This kind of thing. How dare he joke about it? Lin Feng smiled bitterly and said, Mom, I'm not joking, I'm serious. Hearing Lin Feng's serious voice, Lin's mother was stunned for a moment. Are you serious? Really? Lin Feng said firmly. At this time, Lin's father couldn't sit still anymore and spoke directly to Lin's mother. See, I told you. Last time this guy called us and asked us to name the child, there must be something wrong. I guessed right. Lin Feng heard this, smiled, and continued. At the end of this month, I want to celebrate the baby's half-year birthday. Can you come by then? Hearing this, Lin's father and mother were shocked again. What? The child is already half a year old. Well, Lin Feng said helplessly. Zhao Feng, you haven't been deceived, have you? You are only in the second year of college, and the child is already half a year old. I tell you, those women in society are very scheming. Lin Feng shook his head and sighed. Mom, I haven't been deceived, you can just come by then. After Lin Feng's explanation, Lin's father and mother finally accepted this fact. Although they were a little shocked, they were still very happy to be able to hold their grandson. After hanging up the phone, Lin Feng returned to the living room. At this time, Zhang Yuxi also came out of the house holding Sibao. Are you calling your parents? Zhang Yuxi asked tentatively. Just now in the bedroom, she also heard Lin Feng's voice on the phone. Yes. Lin Feng nodded, walked to Zhang Yuxi, and stretched out his hand to pinch Sibao's face. Puff as if sensing Lin Feng, Sibao, who was sleeping, blew a small bubble from his mouth. Seeing this, Lin Feng's expression relaxed. The sadness just now also dissipated instantly. Sibao, this little lazy pig, really sleeps all day. What did you tell them? Zhang Yuxi looked at Lin Feng nervously. I told them that I was married and had 4 babies. But my parents didn't believe it, and insisted that I was deceived. Later, after my explanation, they slowly accepted it. Lin Feng said, shrugging helplessly. Zhang Yuxi was stunned for a moment when she heard this, and then burst out laughing. If I were your parents, I would definitely not believe it. After all, you are just in college and you have become a father. How outrageous this is. Hearing this, Lin Feng smiled and said, what's so outrageous about this? If college students have a marriage certificate, they can get extra credits. This shows that getting married and having children in college is a very normal thing. Zhang Yuxi rolled her eyes and said helplessly, okay, I admit defeat, I can't argue with you. Seeing Zhang Yuxi's submissive look, Lin Feng changed the subject and asked, wife, are you ready to meet my parents? This. Zhang Yuxi was slightly stunned when she saw that the topic suddenly turned to herself. The next second, her expression became flustered, and she said to Lin Feng, I'm not ready yet. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows and comforted, wife, don't be afraid, Let's talk about this later, I have to go to work. Zhang Yuxi said hurriedly. Then, she put the 4 treasures in Lin Feng's hands, picked up her bag, and ran out the door. Seeing this, Lin Feng smiled helplessly. My wife is too shy. Chapter 32 Father's Concern. Afternoon. Teacher's office. Teacher Zhang, what's wrong with you? You look absent-minded. Zhang Yuxi came back to her senses after hearing Han Wen's voice and smiled embarrassedly. No, nothing. This morning, after Lin Feng told her that he wanted to meet his parents, she has been entangled in this matter. Although she and Lin Feng are married, she has never met Lin Feng's parents. She knows that they are not Lin Feng's biological parents. But they are also the 2 people in the world who are the best to Lin Feng. Zhang Yuxi was a little nervous when she thought about meeting them. At this moment, Zhang Yuxi's mobile phone suddenly rang. She picked up the phone and looked at the caller ID. Her expression changed immediately. She walked out of the office, answered the phone, and said in a cold tone, what's wrong? Yuxi, where are you now? I want to go over to see you. Enlan's voice came from the other end of the phone. Zhang Yuxi frowned immediately. What are you doing here? Yuxi, what you said hurts my heart, doesn't it? We have been good friends for so many years, I came to see you, isn't that enough? Don't worry, I won't tell Auntie, I just want to come, to see the baby. Zhang Yuxi was speechless when she heard Enlan's angry voice. I just asked her what she was doing here? Why did she react so strongly? Okay. I'll send you the location, tell me in advance when you come, and I'll pick you up. Hearing this, Enlan smiled immediately. Okay. Zhang Yuxi. After speaking, Enlan continued to ask, Yuxi, 2 years ago, when you got drunk in the bar, do you have other impressions? Zhang Yuxi asked in confusion, other impressions? What do you mean? Nothing, I'm just asking casually. Enlan said carelessly. Oh. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Yuxi returned to the office. She saw the dean of the department, came to her workstation, and said congratulations to her. Han Wen and Tang Zifeng stood beside her, also with envy on their faces. Teacher Zhang, congratulations. Due to your outstanding teaching performance recently, you have been awarded the title of excellent teacher by the school judges. Zhang Yuxi was a little shocked. Excellent teacher. Yes. The department had nodded and said, since you came, The grades of the students in your class have improved by leaps and bounds. You deserve it. Thank you, department head. Hearing this, Zhang Yuxi was very moved. This title can be regarded as an affirmation of her recent work. Do a good job, Teacher Zhang. After the department head finished speaking, he turned around and left the office. At this time, Lin Feng also came over and gave her blessings. Congratulations, Teacher Zhang. Based on my experience, as long as you are rated as an excellent teacher by the school, this month's bonus will be 8,000 yuan more. Zhang Yuxi was even more excited when she heard that there would be a bonus. She turned around and said to the teachers in the office, "Thank you for taking care of me during this period. I will continue to work hard. Come on, Teacher Zhang. The final exam is coming soon, your class can't fall behind." Han Wen suddenly stood up and asked her, "Teacher Zhang, I see that there is a student named Lin Feng in your class. It seems that he hasn't come to class for a while. The school will have the final exam soon. If he doesn't come, he will fail the course." Lin Feng also said, "Yes, although he has excellent grades, Teacher Zhang, you have finally got the title of excellent teacher, you can't let him delay you." Zhang Yuxi heard the smile on her face gradually disappeared. In the evening, Zhang Yuxi drove back to Rongte Haoding. Lin Feng had already prepared dinner and was playing with the babies in the bedroom. "Wife, are you back?" Lin Feng said to the outside, "Go wash your hands quickly, we will have dinner soon." "Okay." Hearing Lin Feng's voice, Zhang Yuxi immediately responded. Then he went to the kitchen and washed his hands. Lin Feng brought the food out of the kitchen and hurriedly greeted her. "Wife, please sit down. Try the chicken stewed with mushrooms that I made tonight." Zhang Yuxi sat at the table and looked at the sumptuous dinner, feeling very touched. "Honey, you are great." She picked up the chopsticks and took a bite. "How is it?" Seeing Zhang Yuxi's satisfied look, Lin Feng smiled. "Yes, it's very delicious." Zhang Yuxi nodded. "Then eat more, and this." Lin Feng continued to pick up the dishes. Zhang Yuxi did not refuse. After dinner, Zhang Yuxi suddenly remembered what happened today and became a little unhappy. "Wife, what's wrong with you?" Lin Feng asked with concern. Zhang Yuxi told Lin Feng about her winning the Excellent Teacher Award today and the final exam. Lin Feng had not been to class for more than half a month. If he didn't even take the final exam, it would be a bit unreasonable. Lin Feng hesitated for a moment, then said, "How about this, you take a leave another day, and I'll go to school to take a class. In this way, someone will take care of the baby." Zhang Yuxi nodded. This was the only way now. "One more thing, my best friend in Lan is coming to see us." Hearing this, Lin Feng said enthusiastically, "Great. There's a room at home where she can stay." Zhang Yuxi was very touched to see that Lin Feng agreed without even asking. "Husband, I don't know why. I suddenly feel that you seem to have become much more handsome, and a little different from before," Zhang Yuxi suddenly said. Lin Feng smiled and replied shamelessly, "That's because your husband is getting more handsome every day." While taking a shower, Lin Feng received a call from home. On the other end of the phone, Lin's father's voice came. "Lin Feng, Dad suddenly remembered that you are still in college now. You said you want to raise 4 babies, where do you get so much money?" Hearing this, Lin Feng suddenly showed a speechless expression. Sure enough, he is not the biological father. This reaction arc is too long. "Dad, don't worry, I can make money," Lin Feng said while scrubbing his body with his mobile phone. "You are still studying, how can you make money? After a while, your mother and I will come to see you after we are done. I will transfer some money to you via WeChat later, and you can buy milk powder for the children." Hearing this, Lin Feng hurriedly refused and said, "No need, Dad, I really have money." "Okay, don't be stubborn with me." As soon as the voice fell, Lin's father hung up the phone. Then, Lin Feng's mobile phone received a message. Lin Feng clicked it and saw that it was 50,000 yuan transferred by Lin's father. This amount of money should be a huge sum for Lin's father. Lin Feng was very touched, but he did not click to receive the money. At this time, Liu Bo sent a few WeChat messages. Lin Feng clicked it and saw that Han Wen came to him and asked him about himself. But Liu Bo used his wit to get away with it very well. Finally, he sent a funny JPG expression. In this regard, Raymond Lam expressed deep doubts. Chapter 33 Return to School. The next day. Classroom office. Teacher Zhang, I talked to Lin Feng's roommate yesterday. He told me that Lin Feng moved out half a month ago, and he lives in the same community as you. Have you ever run into him in the community? Lin Feng's guess was indeed correct. Liu Bo's so-called good deception actually sold himself out. Zhang Yuxi was correcting homework, and when she heard Han Wen's voice, she frowned. I haven't seen him. Han Wen nodded thoughtfully. I heard that this classmate Lin has a rather withdrawn personality. It should be normal that you haven't seen him. Han Wen said, and she found an excuse for herself. Tang Zifeng stood by and said, this Lin Feng usually has very good grades. I hope he can pass the exam this time. Zhang Yuxi nodded, feeling a little guilty. If it weren't for taking care of 4 babies, how could Lin Feng be considered withdrawn? In the evening, Zhang Yuxi returned home. Dinner was ready, and Lin Feng was in the baby room, changing the baby's diaper. At this time, Lin Feng was in a stalemate with Sanbao. Sanbao looked resistant and didn't want Lin Feng to touch his little pee-pee. Lin Feng had no choice but to settle for the next best thing and turned Sanbao over. Then he took out a diaper, lifted Sanbao's calf, and gently changed the diaper. During the whole process, Lin Feng was very careful, for fear of hurting Sanbao. Sanbao didn't cry or to make a fuss, but just smiled foolishly, as if he wanted to play with Lin Feng. At this moment, Lin Feng turned his head. Just in time, he saw Zhang Yuxi, who was looking at him gently from behind. Wife, you are back. Seeing Lin Feng's handsome face, Zhang Yuxi still blushed and her heart beat fast. She shook her head, regained her composure, and asked softly, Husband, is it unfair for you to be a nanny? Zhang Yuxi wanted to ask this question a long time ago, but she never asked it. Hearing this, Lin Feng knew that Zhang Yuxi must be thinking about it again. What's wrong with that? I can be with the babies every day. I'm so happy. Lin Feng walked up to her, held her hand tightly, and changed the subject. Didn't you say that the final exam will be in a few days? How about you tutor me in the evening? Zhang Yuxi nodded heavily. Whether it was out of guilt or her duty as a teacher, she couldn't let Lin Feng fail the exam. After dinner, Lin Feng washed the dishes in the kitchen. Zhang Yuxi was rummaging through the boxes in the living room, looking for study materials. When the babies fell asleep, the two came to the living room and prepared to give Lin Feng special training before the exam. Zhang Yuxi walked in front of the TV and put on a female teacher's style. She asked Lin Feng to treat her as a teacher instead of a wife from now on. Hearing this, Lin Feng smiled and said, Okay, Teacher Zhang. Zhang Yuxi was fascinated by his smile and coughed softly. Then let's get started. I don't know if it was because of taking the marrow washing pill. Lin Feng felt that his brain became particularly flexible and his memory was amazing. As for the things to be memorized, he only needs to take a glance at them and he can remember them. And for those test questions that require formulas to crack, he is also very sensitive and can quickly think of the solution ideas. In less than half an hour, Lin Feng finished both sets of test questions. There were only 2 wrong answers for 1 pair of answers. Zhang Yuxi was stunned. Husband, you are so amazing. That's right, who am I, your husband? Lin Feng raised his head and said proudly. Zhang Yuxi rolled her eyes and knocked on Lin Feng's head. Okay, I know you are smart. Lin Feng looked at the time, it was almost 12 o'clock. Wife, let's go to bed. Came to the bedroom and was about to go to bed. Lin Feng suddenly remembered something and ran outside to fiddle with it. Soon, he returned to the bed with a warm baby. Wife, this is for you. Seeing this scene, Zhang Yuxi was so moved that she almost cried. Hubby, you are so good to me. I was thinking, what should I do if you don't love me anymore one day? Lin Feng leaned over, hugged Zhang Yuxi tightly, and said softly, what are you thinking? I will be with you forever. Who can predict the future? Zhang Yuxi muttered sadly. Lin Feng hugged her tightly without saying a word. He knew that no matter what he said now, it would not be as real as a hug. 3 days later. The exam week arrived as scheduled. According to the previous agreement, Zhang Yuxi took leave to stay at home to take care of the baby, while Lin Feng went to school to take the exam. The final exams in college are not like those in high school, which only take 2 days. Because the course ending periods of different subjects are different during college, the exam time often lasts for half a month. After saying goodbye to Zhang Yuxi, Lin Feng came to school alone. As soon as he stepped into the school gate, he attracted the attention of countless classmates. Wow, this classmate is so handsome. Yes, when did such a handsome classmate come to our school? He looks familiar, He's not the one from the Chinese department. Who is that? It seems to be called Lin Feng, and the class beauty Liao once pursued him. I want to pursue him too. I really want to kiss, hug and lift him up high. Don't be a fangirl. He doesn't even like the class beauty. How can he like you? Arrived at school. Lin Feng's knife-like face instantly attracted the attention of countless female classmates. They all showed fangirl eyes, as if they wanted to eat Lin Feng. After all, Lin Feng's appearance is already very high, plus the effect of the marrow cleansing pill. He can now be said to be completely hanging those young handsome guys. Lin Feng ignored the strange looks of the crowd, and walked directly into the classroom. Just when Lin Feng was about to go in, he happened to meet Tang Zilifang. Lin Feng smiled at her and greeted her. Hello, Teacher Tang. Tang Zilifang was stunned for a moment, looking at Lin Feng with some confusion. Who are you? Seeing Tang Zilifang's puzzled look, Lin Feng was a little puzzled. Isn't that right? He didn't use the change face skill on her. How could she not recognize him? Could it be that Teacher Tang is really so face blind? What Lin Feng didn't know was that since he took the marrow cleansing pill, his entire appearance and figure have changed a lot. In addition, Lin Feng usually sits in the last row, and Tang Zilifang didn't have much impression of him. So when she saw Lin Feng now, she looked confused. Teacher Tang, I'm Lin Feng. Oh, you are Lin Feng, come in quickly, the exam will start soon. Lin Feng nodded and walked directly into the classroom. The classroom, which was originally very noisy, became quiet in an instant. The students in class 2 of the Chinese department all stared at Lin Feng in disbelief. He's Lin Feng. No way, I haven't seen him for half a month, how come he has become so handsome? Although he was handsome before, but now he's so handsome. It's over, I'm falling in love. Tang Zilifang walked to the podium, slapped the table directly, and shouted coldly. Everyone, be quiet. The huge classroom became quiet again. Tang Zilifang glanced at the students in the classroom and continued. Today is the first final exam. Are you all ready? If you don't want to fail, then answer the questions well and try to pass it in one try. Chapter 34 Han Wen's Test. Half an hour later. Lin Feng checked and found no problem, so he handed in the paper ahead of time. Student Lin, there will be an exam later, don't go too far. Well, I'll go buy a bottle of water. Tang Zilifang picked up the test paper and looked at it carefully. She found that she did very well, and she only got one question wrong. As expected, he is a top student. He can hand in nearly full marks even after not coming to class for half a month. Just when Tang Zilifang was surprised, Lin Feng came to a corner of the teaching building. He took out his mobile phone and made a video call to Zhang Yuxi. Husband, aren't you taking an exam? I handed in the paper ahead of time, let me see the baby. Zhang Yuxi said and aimed the camera at the 4 good babies in the crib. Dabao and Erbao hurried over, curiously looking at Lin Feng on the phone, with sweet smiles on their faces. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng's heart was about to melt. Big treasure, second treasure, do you miss your daddy? Dad is not at home today, you have to listen to your mommy. Don't bully your mommy, drink milk and change diapers obediently, do you hear me? Lin Feng said, and then said to Zhang Yuxi, wife, let me see third treasure and fourth treasure. Zhang Yuxi picked up her phone and patted third treasure and fourth treasure next to her. At this time, the two of them were sleeping soundly. Fourth treasure would spit bubbles from his mouth from time to time, looking very silly. You two lazy pigs, you just know how to sleep all day long. Dad came to see you, but you didn't wake up to video chat with Daddy. Lin Feng pretended to be angry and said. Third treasure and fourth treasure said, no, I just finished drinking milk and went to sleep, what's wrong? Zhang Yuxi's sweet voice came from the other end of the phone. Okay, wife, someone is here. I'll hang up first. Bye. At this time, classmates came out of the classroom one after another. Lin Feng had no choice but to turn off the video with Zhang Yuxi. Although he wanted to look at the baby more, if he was seen by his classmates, it would be a loss. At this time, there were several female classmates in short skirts. They were gathering together and looking at Lin Feng from time to time. Go. He is standing over there. Only by taking the initiative can there be a story. Yes, for a handsome guy like him, if you don't take the initiative, the baby will be left alone. Are you going or not? If not, I will go up and ask him for his wedget. No, I can't go. Don't compete with me. If I can't pick him up, I will end up alone. Seeing two female classmates, she-wolves, slowly approaching him, Lin Feng had an ominous premonition and turned away quickly. But how could the two female classmates let him go easily? He wants to run, chase him. The two female classmates didn't care that they were wearing short skirts and chased him in big strides. One of them, a girl with long legs, stretched out her hands and stopped Lin Feng. The other cute girl looked at Lin Feng embarrassedly. "Well, that? Can I add your widget?" she said shyly. Lin Feng was a little embarrassed. "Sorry, I'm married." As he said that, he stretched out his left hand and showed the diamond ring on his hand. "Ah, you're married." The two looked at Lin Feng in disbelief. "We are all students, and you're already married?" In their opinion, Lin Feng must want to reject them, so he found such a bad excuse. The long-legged girl walked over and said domineeringly, "It's okay, my sister is not picky, even if you are married, it's okay." When the cute girl heard this, her face became even more embarrassed. She quickly pulled the long-legged girl back and said to Lin Feng, "Sorry, I disturbed you." After that, she pulled the long-legged girl and ran towards the bathroom. "What are you doing?" "I'm almost there." "They're already married, it's not good for us to do this." "You believed him when he said he was going to get married? You're such an idiot." "Are you saying he's lying to us?" "Of course we are only sophomores, we can't get married. I'll take you to stop him after school." Soon. The second round of exams began. The invigilator this time was Han Wen. Han Wen was wearing a hip-wrapped short skirt and stood on the podium with a cold expression. A pair of slender legs, tightly wrapped in stockings, looked particularly sexy. Her eyes were like a hawk, scanning the audience below. "Come on, left and right rows, swap positions. Wipe all the notes you copied on your desk. I warn you, if anyone dares to cheat, I will definitely not let him go." Seeing Han Wen's domineering look on the podium, Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh. "It seems that you really can't just look at some people from the surface. You have to go deeper to discover her true nature." Half an hour later, Lin Feng checked the test paper and wanted to hand it in early again. But this time, Han Wen stared at him so hard that he was a little scared. "Teacher Han, what's wrong? Go back and don't hand in your paper early." Seeing Han Wen's burning eyes, as if she wanted to strip him naked and check him carefully, Lin Feng immediately became a little scared. He had to return to his seat silently and pretend to check the test paper. Fortunately, Han Wen didn't find out that he was the so-called brother-in-law in her mouth. Half an hour later, the exam was over and everyone handed in their papers one after another. After leaving the classroom, Lin Feng walked directly back to Rongte Haoding. He didn't drive, and he had to do the whole act. What if Tang Zifang and Han Wen saw that he was driving Zhang Yuxi's car? Wouldn't that be exposed? After returning home, Lin Feng went to see the baby first, then ran to the kitchen and started cooking for Zhang Yuxi. Ding dong. At this moment, the doorbell rang. Zhang Yuxi subconsciously looked at Lin Feng. "I'll go see who it is. It's probably Teacher Tang and Teacher Han." Lin Feng directly stated his judgment. Since he showed up at school today, they must want to come to his house to see if this so-called Lin Feng is Teacher Zhang's husband. Zhang Yuxi was also a little flustered when she heard this. She hurriedly urged Lin Feng to put on makeup and disguise himself. In Zhang Yuxi's opinion, although Tang Zifang and Han Wen did not recognize Lin Feng before, that was because Lin Feng had not been to class for half a month, and they were a little face-blind, so they could not recognize Lin Feng. But now, they just finished supervising Lin Feng and came to the door again. Even if they are face-blind, they can't make a mistake, right? Seeing Zhang Yuxi's panic, Lin Feng shook his head indifferently. "It's okay, my wife, I sat in the last row for the exam today, and they didn't pay much attention to me. You go open the door and let them in." Zhang Yuxi heard this and had no choice but to open the door and welcome the two in. Sure enough, as soon as they entered the door, Tang Zifang and Han Wen directly looked for Lin Feng. "Teacher Zhang, your husband is not at home." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 Visitors from Afar. "He's cooking in the kitchen," Zhang Yuxi said nervously. Upon hearing this, the two hurried to the kitchen to take a look. At this time, Lin Feng had already activated the change appearance, skill and set his target to Tang Zifeng and Han Wen. Teacher Tang, Teacher Han, what's wrong? Lin Feng raised his head and asked as if nothing had happened. No, nothing. We just happened to pass by and wanted to come up to see you. Seeing Lin Feng's look, Han Wen's doubts were completely dispelled. Oh, have you eaten? Why don't you stay for dinner? Lin Feng invited warmly. This is not good. Although she said so, Han Wen still sat down at the dining table. Zhang Yuxi was relieved when she saw this, and smiled and said, then I'll go cook more rice. Okay, but we're not here just to eat for free. Han Wen also explained specially. Zhang Yuxi smiled without saying a word and went straight into the kitchen. Half an hour later, 5 dishes and a soup were ready. A large table full of dishes, the fragrance instantly filled the whole house. Han Wen smelled the aroma of the food, and her appetite was aroused, and her stomach was growling. Eat quickly, Zhang Yuxi suggested when she saw Han Wen salivating. Han Wen immediately picked up the chopsticks, picked up a piece of boiled beef and started eating. It's delicious. Brother-in-law's cooking skills are really unique in Guangzhou. Tang Zifeng tasted it and praised it. Such tender beef. It's even better than the tofu beef I had when I went to Sichuan and Chongqing before. Zhang Yuxi was already used to Lin Feng's cooking skills, although she still felt amazed every time she ate it. But she would not make such an exaggerated expression like Han Wen and Tang Zifeng. Zhang Yuxi suddenly felt that she had a feeling of not knowing how to appreciate her blessings. At this moment, Han Wen suddenly spoke. Teacher Zhang, I really envy you. Where did you find your husband? I want to find one too. Zhang Yuxi heard this and showed a helpless expression on her face. She didn't want to tell them that she and Lin Feng actually met in a bar. At this time, Tang Zifeng changed the subject and said, Teacher Zhang, Lin Feng from your class came to take the exam today. And he handed in his paper early. I saw that he did very well. Hearing Tang Zifeng talking about Lin Feng, Han Wen also said, yes, when I was invigilating, he also wanted to hand in his paper early, but I scared him back. Lin Feng was a little speechless when he heard this. Who would have thought that Han Wen, who was so domineering on the podium, was so eccentric in private? Soon, Han Wen continued, Teacher Zhang, you didn't go to school today, otherwise you would have been scared. Lin Feng has become so handsome now, I can't recognize him. Han Wen and Tang Zifeng were both talking about Lin Feng's changes. Zhang Yuxi listened to it from the side and couldn't help but look at Lin Feng in front of her, feeling a little confused. Are Teacher Tang and Teacher Han really so face-blind? Or is it that Lin Feng's makeup skills are too good? He was able to fool both of them? Just then, a cry came from the baby's room. I'll go see the baby. Lin Feng stood up quickly and left this place of trouble. Teacher Zhang, you asked for leave today and didn't go to school. Did something happen? If you need anything, just tell us. As long as we can help you, we will help you. After Lin Feng left, Tang Zifeng asked with concern. Han Wen listened and also hurriedly expressed her attitude. Yes, Teacher Zhang, you must not be polite to us. Zhang Yuxi shook her head and thanked them for their kindness. The three continued to chat for a while, and then Tang Zifeng and Han Wen left. The next day, Zhang Yuxi took care of the baby at home. Lin Feng went to school to take the exam as usual. As soon as the test paper was handed out, he started to do it quickly. 20 minutes later, Lin Feng checked it roughly. There was no problem, and then handed in the paper in advance. This time, the invigilator was not Tang Zifeng or Han Wen. So she didn't make things difficult for Lin Feng, but was a little surprised at Lin Feng's speed in doing the questions. After handing in the test paper, Lin Feng walked out of the school gate and headed straight for Rongte Mansion. He missed his baby after not seeing him for a while. However, just as Lin Feng was about to step out of the school gate, he suddenly saw a familiar figure standing at the school gate. A middle-aged man was standing at the gate, carrying a large bag of fruit and looking around. Dad? Hearing Lin Feng's voice, the middle-aged man turned around abruptly. For a moment, he was actually a little stunned. Who are you? Lin Dashan said with some confusion. Dad, I'm Lin Feng. Lin Dashan was stunned for a moment, then reacted immediately and hurried over. I haven't seen you for half a year. How come you've become so handsome? Oh, Dad, I'm still in my growth spurt. It's normal for me to become handsome. Lin Feng laughed and changed the subject. Dad, why didn't you say hello when you came? Really? Lin Dashan glared at Lin Feng and said with a straight face, how dare you say that? Such a big thing happened. I gave you money, but you didn't want it. So I had to come to see you. By the way, why didn't your mom come? Originally, your mom was going to come, but your brother got into trouble at school and she couldn't get away. Oh. Lin Feng nodded, took the fruit from Lin Dashan's hand, and said, then let's go home. Lin Dashan nodded and followed Lin Feng. Although Lin Feng was not his biological son, he was also raised by him. Lin Dashan and Lin Feng's biological father and mother have been good friends for many years. But when Lin Feng was in elementary school, they died in a car accident. At that time, no one was willing to adopt Lin Feng. It was Lin Dashan who took the initiative to come forward and propose to bring Lin Feng home to raise him. By the way, son, you haven't told me yet, what does the girl do? How old is she now? Where's she from? Lin Dashan suddenly thought of this question and asked. She is a teacher in our school, 6 years older than me. I don't know where she is from. Since he was already here, there was no need for Lin Feng to hide it. However, when Lin Dashan heard that the girl was Lin Feng's teacher, his eyes suddenly widened as big as copper bells. She is a teacher in your school. Yes. Lin Feng nodded. Hearing this, Lin Dashan sighed and said nothing more. Soon, the two came to Rongtaehaoding. Looking at the environment in the community, Lin Dashan was very satisfied. The rent of the house here is quite expensive, right? Dad, actually, this house is mine. Lin Dashan stared and asked in disbelief. Your house? Where did you get so much money? On my biological father's side, doesn't he have a distant relative who made a lot of money abroad? When I was a child, he liked me very much. He passed away not long ago, so he left me a house and a car. Hearing this, Lin Dashan was a little skeptical. But he also heard about Lin Feng's distant relative. It seems that he is indeed abroad, and it seems that he did pass away not long ago. Thinking of this, Lin Dashan didn't think much about it. His son has a house and a car, and he is also happy for Lin Feng. Chapter 36 The ugly daughter-in-law meets her parents-in-law. After returning home, Lin Feng opened the door and shouted inside. Wife, I'm back. Where are you? Entering the living room, Lin Dashan looked around the house. It was decorated in a simple European style and had a square layout. Standing on the balcony, you can also see the river view, which is very comfortable. Dad, sit down first. I'll go to the baby's room to take a look. Lin Feng put down the fruit and walked directly to the baby's room. He gently pushed open the door and saw Zhang Yuxi feeding the baby. With her shoulders half exposed, the picture was particularly charming. Wife, my dad is here. Lin Feng said softly. Ah. Zhang Yuxi heard this and hurriedly put the baby down, with a look of panic on her face. Lin Feng walked over, helped her put on her pajamas, and then said. On the way here, I told my dad about your situation in general. Then what did your dad say? Zhang Yuxi looked a little nervous. He didn't say anything, but he was quite surprised. Lin Feng turned around and looked at the 4 well-behaved babies in the crib. He walked to Sibeo, took out a tissue, and wiped his mouth. Zhang Yuxi hurriedly changed out of her pajamas, tied her up, and asked, Honey, is it okay for me to wear this? Lin Feng looked at her and smiled. No problem, my wife looks good in anything. Hate it, don't be so slick, tell me the truth. I'm telling the truth. Zhang Yuxi stood in front of the mirror, looked at her outfit, and still felt dissatisfied. Honey, help me go to the bedroom and take out that t-shirt. It's okay, you look good in this. Lin Feng patted her hand and teased, the ugly daughter-in-law will meet her parents-in-law sooner or later, don't be embarrassed. Zhang Yuxi thought about it, and it was the same truth. She took a deep breath, calmed herself down, and tried to behave generously and decently. On the other side, Lin Dashan was sitting in the living room. The more he looked at the house, the more comfortable he felt. Dad. Lin Feng took Zhang Yuxi's hand and walked in front of Lin Dashan. Let me introduce you to my wife, Zhang Yuxi. Zhang Yuxi was a little nervous. But she still mustered up the courage and said to Lin Dashan, Dad. Lin Dashan stood up and looked at Zhang Yuxi, with satisfaction in his eyes. He was very satisfied with his daughter-in-law. Especially seeing the two of them holding hands, looking so loving. Lin Dashan also smiled and greeted, Hello, my daughter, I came in a hurry this time and didn't prepare anything. As he said that, he took out 50,000 yuan in cash from his pocket. This is a gift for meeting you. Zhang Yuxi waved her hands hurriedly, Dad, I can't accept this. Seeing this, Lin Dashan put the money directly on the table. You just got married and have to raise 4 children. The financial pressure must be great. This money is what I earned in the past 2 years. I originally thought that I would leave it for Lin Feng to use when he gets married in the future. But now that he is married, you can take it and buy some milk powder for the children. After a while, when my salary comes down, I will give you some more. As he said that, he looked at Lin Feng with a look that could not be refused. Seeing this, Lin Feng patted Zhang Yuxi's hand and said, "Wife, go cook and let Dad eat at home later." Zhang Yuxi heard this and knew that Lin Feng wanted to talk to Lin Dashan alone. So she didn't say much, went straight to the kitchen and started cooking. After Zhang Yuxi left, Lin Feng stuffed the money back to Lin Dashan. "You little bastard, what are you doing? This is a gift from me to my daughter-in-law, why are you giving it back to me?" Lin Dashan cursed. Lin Feng said helplessly, "Dad, I have money, take this money back." "What do you mean by rich? Let me tell you, the cost of raising a child is not as simple as you think. If you still recognize me as your father, take the money," Lin Dashan said seriously. Lin Feng smiled bitterly, "Dad, to be honest with you, I made some money writing stuff online. And I also invested in a new company started by a friend. Now every month, I can get tens of thousands of yuan in dividends. So, you don't have to worry about me." Lin Dashan looked at Lin Feng with a half-believing and half-doubting expression. "Really? Of course it's true. And now I have a house and a car, and I can save a lot of rent." Hearing this, Lin Dashan finally put his mind at ease. "Not bad, brat. It seems that Dad underestimated you." Seeing this, Lin Feng stuffed the money back into his pocket. Seeing this, Lin Dashan just sighed and didn't refuse again. "Okay, Dad will save this money for you first. When you need it in the future, tell me." Lin Dashan thought to himself that he would put the money in the bank. Just think of it as a reserve fund for Lin Feng. Then, he asked, "What are your plans now?" "The current situation is that I stay at home to take care of the child, and she goes to school." Lin Dashan's expression was a little dissatisfied when he heard this. After all, he was still on Lin Feng's side. "As for academics, I have completed the credits, and I just need to take the exam. With Yuxi tutoring me, the exam is not a problem. We originally hired a confinement nanny to help us take care of the baby, but the cost was too high, so we asked her to go back. Besides, I want to take care of the child myself, which is better for the child's growth." Hearing this, Lin Dashan's brows were still furrowed. He didn't expect that his son would become a full-time dad at such a young age. For a man, this can easily lead to a loss of fighting spirit. "Dad, you don't have to worry about me. Even if I stay at home to take care of the child, I can also partner with my friends to do some small business. When I graduate, the child will be a little older. I will just open a company and be my own boss." Hearing this, Lin Dashan's face improved. He sighed and said, "Okay, then if you need anything, just tell me." "Okay, Dad." Lin Feng nodded. Just then, there was a cry from the baby's room. Zhang Yuxi wiped her hands and hurried over from the kitchen. Lin Dashan was also a little itchy, and couldn't wait to ask, "Is the baby awake? Can I go over to see them?" "Of course." Lin Feng agreed with a smile. The two came to the door of the bedroom, and Lin Dashan hurried in. Then he was surprised to see 4 cute grandchildren lying in the crib. "My dear grandchildren, how come you are so cute? Much prettier than the grandchildren of old Li next door." Lin Dashan leaned over to take a closer look, and smiled so hard that his mouth couldn't close. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng also smiled happily. He walked in front of Zhang Yuxi and whispered, "Wife, I'm going to cook, you stay here with my dad." Zhang Yuxi hesitated and nodded. "Call me if you have anything." Lin Feng patted Zhang Yuxi on the shoulder. "Okay." Zhang Yuxi took a deep breath. She believed that she would be fine. Since she married Lin Feng, she would have to contact his parents. What's more, Lin Dashan was also a very good father. Chapter 37 Reward, Dragon and Phoenix Rejuvenation Pill. After Lin Feng left, Zhang Yuxi took a deep breath and walked to Lin Dashan. "Dad, let me introduce them to you. These 4 babies are 2 pairs of twins. Dabao and Sabao are boys, Erbao and Sanbao are girls. From left to right, they are Dabao, Erbao, Sanbao and Sabao." Zhang Yuxi said, her palms sweating. Lin Dashan stared at the 4 babies intently. "Girl, can I hug them?" "Of course, you are their grandfather." Lin Dashan showed an excited expression on his face, not knowing how to start. Seeing this, Zhang Yuxi picked up Dabao and put him in his arms. Lin Dashan took Dabao and looked at his chubby face, and his whole body was about to melt. Oh, my Dabao is so cute. Lin Dashan's mouth was wide open, smiling, and he had no dignity just now. Zhang Yuxi saw it, and her heart was also warm. After all, her own baby was recognized by her father-in-law, and she was still very happy. Lin Dashan held Dabao for a while, then returned Dabao to Zhang Yuxi, with a reluctant expression. I am an old man, and I stink. My clothes are not very clean either, so I'd better not stink the baby. As he said that, he looked at the other babies. He pointed at Erbao next to Dabao and said with a smile, this Erbao is also a little troublemaker. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said, Dabao and Erbao are the most active and love to make noise. Love to make noise, it means they are full of energy. Zhang Yuxi pointed to the two babies next to them. These are Sanbao and Sibao. They are relatively quiet, especially Sibao, who sleeps like a pig all day long. Lin Dashan looked down at Sanbao and Sibao who were sleeping soundly, with a kind look on his face. The babies are all healthy, you've worked so hard. Zhang Yuxi heard this and shook her head and said, actually, it's all Lin Feng who takes good care of them. I usually go to school for classes. It's also thanks to him that the babies can grow up healthily. Lin Dashan nodded, it's good that you can remember Lin Feng's kindness. Well, I'll remember it all. Zhang Yuxi nodded heavily. At this moment, Lin Dashan's phone rang. He took out his phone and looked at it, then looked up and said to Zhang Yuxi, it's Lin Feng's mother, calling me via video. Zhang Yuxi heard this and suddenly became nervous. The video was connected, and a gentle woman suddenly appeared in the phone. Seeing Lin Dashan, she immediately complained. You old thing, you said you were going to Yangchang, and you didn't even call me when you got off the high-speed rail station. I sent you a message but you didn't reply. What on earth did you do? Did you see your son? How are the babies? Is your daughter-in-law pretty? Hearing Zhou Qilin's complaints, Lin Dashan felt a headache. He quickly turned the camera and pointed it at Zhang Yuxi and said, just tell your daughter-in-law directly. Seeing this, Zhang Yuxi was startled and smiled. Auntie, no. Hello, Mom. Zhou Qilin was stunned for a moment, but soon reacted and said with a smile. Hello, daughter-in-law. My name is Zhou Qilin, you can call me Qilin Mom from now on. Zhang Yuxi nodded quickly after hearing this. Zhou Qilin then looked at Lin Dashan and asked, Old man, where are the babies? Let me see them. Lin Dashan quickly turned the camera and pointed it at the 4 babies in the crib. Seeing those chubby, pink and tender little babies, Zhou Qilin's eyes widened immediately. So cute, my dear grandson. Oh, the biggest one is a boy, he looks so strong. And that little lazy pig, he doesn't forget to talk in his sleep and is still blowing bubbles. The one in the middle, is she a girl? She looks very quiet. Lin Dashan picked up his phone and explained to Zhou Qilin. The 2 in the middle are both girls. One of them likes to make noises, and the other is quiet. Dabao and Sibao are boys. One is stronger, and the other likes to sleep late. The couple saw their grandson and started a heated discussion. Zhang Yuxi quietly left the bedroom and ran to the kitchen to help Lin Feng. Not long after, Lin Feng prepared the meal. With the help of Zhang Yuxi, he brought it to the dining table. Lin Feng walked into the baby room and shouted to Lin Dashan, Dad, it's time to eat. Lin Dashan took the phone and walked in front of Lin Feng. I'm video chatting with your mother. She has something to tell you. Lin Feng took the phone and switched to the front camera. Seeing the handsome face in front of the camera, Zhou Qilin was a little stunned. You are Lin Feng? Yes, Mom. Lin Feng smiled slightly. How are you doing recently? I'm fine, but your brother is a worry. But, how come you look much more handsome than before, and you've become more mature? Lin Feng smiled and said, I'm still growing up, and it's normal to become more handsome. Then your change is really big? Zhou Qilin was surprised. Then, she showed a relieved expression. Your dad just told me that you have a house and a car in Yangchang. And you can make money on your own, and live a good life. But, you said it's the same, you don't tell us anything. Lin Feng shook his head and explained, Mom, I'm just too busy recently and didn't take care of it. Zhou Qilin didn't really blame Lin Feng. Okay, Mom won't say much to you, you guys should eat quickly. I've seen my daughter-in-law, she looks very beautiful, Mom is very satisfied. When the baby's half-year-old birthday comes, I will definitely come to see you. Hang up the phone. Lin Feng pushed the crib and brought Lin Dashan to the restaurant. At this time, Zhang Yuxi had already set up the dishes. Recalling her contact with Lin Feng's parents just now, she felt that they were quite easy to get along with. "Dad, eat quickly." Seeing that Lin Dashan didn't eat and was still looking at the four babies, Lin Feng urged, "Okay, let me try my son's cooking skills." Lin Dashan picked up the chopsticks, picked up a piece of stir-fried meat and started eating. It tastes really good. Lin Feng, you can go to a stall with your cooking skills." Lin Feng was speechless when he heard this. "My cooking skills are comparable to Michelin 3 stars, and you actually asked me to go to a stall?" But he still smiled and said, "Dad, if it tastes good, eat more." Lin Dashan was not polite. After sitting on the high-speed train for several hours, he was already very hungry. He buried his head in eating. While eating, he also praised Lin Feng's cooking skills. Soon, a large table of dishes was eaten up. Lin Dashan nodded with satisfaction, then took out a tissue and wiped his mouth. "Okay, I've eaten and seen the baby. It's almost time for me to leave too." Lin Feng stood up hurriedly and stopped him, saying, "Dad, you can stay here tonight." Lin Dashan waved his hand. "No need to be so troublesome, I had already booked a hotel when I came." He didn't want to stay here and affect their world of two. After all, Lin Feng had just gotten married, and the couple still needed a little privacy. Lin Dashan continued, "I'll go see the baby again, and I'll go back to the hotel in a while. Anyway, this hotel has been booked and cannot be refunded. It would be a waste if I don't stay." "Okay." Lin Feng had no choice but to nod. Lin Dashan walked to the crib and looked at the four babies with a loving look in his eyes. At this moment, the voice of the system suddenly came from Lin Feng's mind. "Ling, because the host has let the baby contact relatives, he has fulfilled his responsibilities as a father. Reward 5 Dragon and Phoenix Rejuvenation Pills. Dragon and Phoenix Rejuvenation Pill, it has the effect of strengthening the body and prolonging life. It is more effective for the elderly. Chapter 38 Wife, I want to start a business." Hearing the voice of the system, Lin Feng hurried to the bedroom and took out the Dragon and Phoenix Rejuvenation Pill. Looking at the 5 pitch-black pills on the table, Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This system really knows how to judge people. When Lin Feng was in junior high school, Lin Dashan had to work 3 jobs every day to support the family. He slept for less than 4 hours a day. So his body also fell ill at that time. The whole person looks much older than his actual age. But now, with the Dragon and Phoenix Rejuvenation Pill rewarded by the system, Lin Dashan's body should be relieved. Lin Feng picked up a pill and put it in the box, thinking about finding an opportunity to give it to Lin Dashan later. This kind of pill can only be taken once by each person. It's not that Lin Feng is stingy. Lin Feng put the box in his pocket and returned to the living room. Seeing Lin Feng coming out, Lin Dashan also said goodbye to the babies and prepared to leave. "Dad, I'll take you." Lin Feng picked up the garbage and turned to Zhang Yuxi in the kitchen and said, "Wife, I'll go see Dad off and be back soon." "Yes." Zhang Yuxi agreed softly. When they came downstairs, Lin Feng drove Lin Dashan to the hotel. On the way, looking at Lin Feng in the driver's seat, Lin Dashan looked a little lonely. "In the blink of an eye, you're already so big. But I can see you get married and have children, and I can also explain to your dad." Lin Feng knew that Lin Dashan was worried about his health. He was overworked when he was young, and he knew his body well. Hearing this, Lin Feng silently tightened the medicine box in his pocket. Arrived at the hotel, Lin Feng took out the medicine box and put it on the table. "Dad, there's a tonic in it, it's good for your body. My friend gave it to me." His parents took it and found it very effective. "Take this medicine after you take a shower." Lin Dashan nodded without thinking much. After all, he couldn't harm his own son with poison. "Then I'll go back." "Well, go back. Come home tomorrow and have dinner before leaving, I'll pick you up." Lin Feng was about to go out, but he was a little worried, so he turned back and said, "Call me if you have anything." Lin Dashan smiled and said helplessly, "Stinky boy, do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? You're so nagging." Perhaps it was because he became a father that Lin Feng also became more worried. After Lin Feng left, Lin Dashan took a bath. He felt uncomfortable all over. Especially his waist, it felt like it was going to break. Lin Dashan saw the medicine box on the table and suddenly remembered what Lin Feng had told him. He walked over, opened the medicine box, took out the pill and swallowed it. The pill melted in his mouth and soon turned into a warm current. It slowly flowed along Lin Daxin's body. Lin Daxin felt warm all over, as if he was swimming in a hot spring. The capillaries all over his body were madly absorbing the medicinal power of the rejuvenation pill. After a while, Lin Daxin's body was full of vitality. The waist pain is gone, the legs and feet are more flexible, and even the face has become rosy. Lin Daxin opened his eyes wide, his face full of astonishment and shock, and couldn't help but sigh. This medicine is really amazing. I feel like I'm 10 years younger. Just as Lin Daxin was amazed, Lin Feng had returned home. At this time, Zhang Yuxi was playing with Dabao in the house. Except for Dabao, the other babies have fallen asleep. Little troublemaker, why aren't you sleeping yet? Lin Feng came over, scratched Dabao's nose, and made a face. If you don't sleep again, Dad will be angry. Seeing Lin Feng making a face, Dabao was not afraid, but clenched his fists and pretended to fight back. Seeing this, Lin Feng couldn't help laughing. Haha, our Dabao is really amazing. Zhang Yuxi reminded from the side, don't tease him, the more he plays, the more energetic he is. Lin Feng knew Dabao's playful personality. After 20 minutes, Dabao was still having fun and didn't look like he was going to sleep at all. Forget it, let him play by himself. Wife, eat this. Lin Feng took out a dragon and phoenix rejuvenation pill and handed it to Zhang Yuxi. Although this kind of pill is most effective for the elderly, but it is also beneficial to the body for young people, especially girls. What is this? Zhang Yuxi looked at the black pill in front of her and couldn't help asking. I bought this for you. It's especially good for girls. After taking it, you will never have cold uterus or dysmenorrhea again. Hearing this, Zhang Yuxi didn't hesitate and took the pill and swallowed it. How is it? Lin Feng asked with concern. It's a bit bitter. But after eating it, I feel warm and comfortable. Zhang Yuxi felt as if there was a warm current flowing in her body. Her face became rosy and she looked full of youthful vitality. Even her chest circumference grew a little. Seeing this, Lin Feng smiled with relief. At night, Lin Feng came over and said softly, Wife, I want to start a business when I have time. Sure. Aren't you afraid that I will go bankrupt? Zhang Yuxi smiled. If you go bankrupt, don't you still have me? I can support you. After hearing this, Lin Feng was very moved. So he had a deep discussion with Zhang Yuxi. At 1 o'clock in the morning, Zhang Yuxi fell into deep sleep, and the whole person was exhausted. Lin Feng showed a satisfied smile and found that he seemed to have become more powerful. I don't know if it was because of taking the marrow cleansing pill. At this time, the system voice suddenly sounded. Ling, because the host improves the quality of the baby's milk and fulfills the responsibility of being a father, a cash reward of 100,000 yuan will be given. Award a set of shops in Shanxiaju Pedestrian Street, with a total area of 80 square meters. Specific location, number 108, Shanxiaju Pedestrian Street. Hearing the voice of the system, Lin Feng was stunned. Improve the quality of the baby's milk? What the hell is this? Lin Feng didn't think much and continued to look down. When he saw a set of shops on the pedestrian street, he was dumbfounded. This reward is really awesome. You know, Shanxiaju Pedestrian Street is a place where every inch of land is worth a lot of money. Any shop costs millions. The system is really a timely reign. Just when I wanted to start a business, I was rewarded with a shop. In this way, no matter how hard I try, it will not go bankrupt, right? After all, the shop is mine. Thinking of this, Lin Feng hugged Zhang Yuxi and fell asleep sweetly. Chapter 39, So this child is yours? The next morning, the sun shone through the window and fell into the room. Lin Feng opened his sleepy eyes and found Zhang Yuxi still sleeping. He couldn't help but smile faintly. You must have been exhausted last night. Lin Feng sighed, then got up quietly and prepared to go to the next door to see the baby. At this moment, his cell phone suddenly rang. Hello, Dad? Lin Feng, I won't go over for lunch at noon. There's something else at home. I have to go back in a hurry. I bought a ticket for 10 o'clock in the morning. Lin Daxin's voice came from the other end of the phone. Lin Feng had just changed the diapers for the babies. Dad, wait at the hotel, I'll take you to the car. Lin Daxin shook his head and refused. Don't bother, I'll call a car. My daughter-in-law has to go to work later. If you leave, who'll take care of the babies? Lin Feng looked at the 4 babies. At this time, they had woken up, their eyes were rolling, and they seemed to be very curious about the outside world. It's okay, Dad. I'll take the babies out for a ride. They seem to want to go out and play too. Lin Feng was very touched, but he still refused. Can you take care of 4 babies by yourself? I'll call my roommate out later. I just happen to have something to ask him. After Lin Feng finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Then he put the 4 babies into 2 strollers and took them out of the room. Before leaving, Lin Feng went into the bedroom, woke up Zhang Yuxi, and told her about it. Zhang Yuxi did not object, but asked Lin Feng to be careful. Half an hour later, Lin Feng drove Lin Feng to the high-speed rail station. Lin Feng carried the luggage and waved to Lin Feng and the other 4 reluctantly. When he saw the 4 well-behaved babies in the stroller, tears could not stop flowing out. But as a man, how could he cry in front of his son? Lin Feng quickly wiped away his tears, told Lin Feng a few words, and walked towards the security check without looking back. Seeing his father off, Lin Feng returned to the car. He took out his cell phone and called Liu Bo. Brother Feng, what's the matter? Come to Shangxiaju Pedestrian Street, I'll wait for you. What are you doing? I'm busy getting points. You're so old, and you're still getting points. I'll give you half an hour, come quickly. Lin Feng said without question. Although Liu Bo was a little dissatisfied, he still quit the game and left the dormitory. Shangxiaju Pedestrian Street. Located in the old city of Guangzhou, it is more than 1,237 meters long. The entire pedestrian street is lined with shops, with a total of more than 300 shops. It is one of the 3 traditional prosperous commercial centers in Guangzhou. At the entrance of the pedestrian street, Liu Bo chewed betel nut and scanned the passers-by. Because of staying up late to play games for a long time, coupled with handicrafts, Liu Bo's eyes were very dark and he looked listless. At this time, Liu Bo's expression on his face was a little impatient. Lin Feng called him over, but he was slower than himself. What's the reason? Just when he was hesitating whether to go back and continue to get points, a white BMW suddenly stopped in front of him. The car window rolled down, and Lin Feng's handsome face poked out from the car. Get in the car. Liu Bo had an unbelievable expression. He spit out the betel nut in his mouth and hurried over. Lin Feng drove Liu Bo to a nearby parking lot and opened the trunk. Liu Bo, help me get the baby stroller out. Liu Bo got out of the car and pushed the stroller over. Lin Feng picked up the babies and put them in the stroller. At this time, the babies had woken up and started babbling. Seeing this scene, Liu Bo's heart almost melted. Good baby, call uncle, I'm your Uncle Bo. No, call godfather, I'm your godfather. Lin Feng punched Liu Bo hard. What godfather? Did I agree? Liu Bo touched his head and showed an embarrassed expression. By the way, Brother Feng, is this your car? Yes. Lin Feng nodded nonchalantly. Fuck. Brother Feng, you've become rich. Liu Bo shouted excitedly. Not long ago, Lin Feng was still delivering food on a small electric donkey. Now he drives a BMW? Although it's just a basic model, it costs nearly 300,000 yuan. For Liu Bo, let alone 300,000 yuan, even 300 yuan is a huge sum of money. At this time, Liu Bo looked at Lin Feng with eyes full of envy, jealousy, and love. Following such a good brother, do you still have to worry about not having food to eat in the future? Brother Feng, you have to protect me in the future. I rely on you to eat and drink well. Lin Feng glared at him and said unhappily, be quiet, don't scare the baby. Liu Bo looked at the baby and smiled embarrassedly. By the way, brother, what did you ask me to do? You're not here to accompany you to take care of the child. I declare in advance that I can play with the baby, but you have to feed and change diapers. Lin Feng ignored him and pushed the stroller directly, wandering on the pedestrian street. Lin Feng kept looking at the house numbers on both sides of the street. Soon, he found the shop number 108 that the system rewarded. Lin Feng took out the key, opened the shutter door, and walked in directly. Seeing this scene, Liu Bo was stunned. Brother, how did you get the key here? Lin Feng did not answer, but walked into the shop and looked carefully. This shop is not very big, less than 80 square meters. But the decoration inside is very delicate and looks very comfortable. What do you think we can do with this shop? Lin Feng turned his head and looked at Liu Bo. Liu Bo was shocked when he heard it, and walked over to touch Lin Feng's forehead. Brother, are you okay? Do you know how much money a shop here costs a month? Lin Feng shook his head. Liu Bo's face was full of black lines, and he was extremely speechless about his behavior. You don't know how much money it costs, but you want to open a shop here. People say that a woman becomes stupid for 3 years after giving birth. It turns out that this child is yours. Lin Feng chuckled and said seriously. This shop is mine. Chapter 40, Get Bigger and Stronger. Is it yours? Brother, are you kidding me? Liu Bo was shocked when he heard this. Lin Feng said with a straight face, I'm not kidding you, this store is really mine. As for how I got it, I'll tell you later. This time I asked you to come here mainly because I want to partner with you and open a store together. You do the work, I pay the money, how about 70% and 30%? Lin Feng has to take care of the children now, and Zhang Yuxi has to go to school. So after thinking about it, only Liu Bo is the most suitable person to be the storekeeper. In addition, Liu Bo has the closest relationship with Lin Feng. Before, Lin Feng had no money to eat, and it was Liu Bo who helped him. Although it was just a few packs of old-style pickled cabbage noodles, Lin Feng remembered this favor. 70% and 30%. Brother, won't you suffer too much in this way? Hearing that Lin Feng was going to give him 30%, Liu Bo was extremely excited. You know, opening a store in this pedestrian street. You can make a lot of money just by selling beef offal. Not to mention, you don't have to pay rent. You and I have such a close relationship. What's there to lose? Lin Feng looked at Liu Bo and smiled. Anyway, he has the system now, so he doesn't have to worry about having no money to spend. He just wants to find something to do by opening a store. Hearing this, Liu Bo wanted to go up and kiss Lin Feng hard. Brother Feng, I will follow you from now on. You can follow me, but what should we sell in this store? Lin Feng touched his nose and thought about it. In fact, the safest way to rent out this store is to rent it out. After all, the pedestrian street is so busy, and many people want to open a store here. It's easy to rent 40,000 or 50,000 yuan a month. But Lin Feng doesn't want to be a landlord. Since the system has rewarded this store, he wants to try to do something on his own. Liu Bo thought about it and suggested, we can open a barbecue restaurant or a milk tea shop. If that doesn't work, we can sell clothes. Sell clothes. Lin Feng glanced at the baby in the stroller and said in a deep voice, let's sell baby clothes. Okay. You are a dad and you have 4 such cute babies. Selling baby clothes, you don't even need to hire models. Liu Bo clapped his hands in agreement. Okay, let's go have lunch first. This matter needs to be planned carefully. Just like that, 2 grown men, each pushing a stroller. In the pedestrian street, they found a Hunan restaurant and went in. Entering the restaurant, Lin Feng asked the waiter for a pot of warm water and started to make milk powder for the babies. After wandering around all morning, the babies were already starving. Before Lin Feng finished making the milk powder, they started babbling. Even Sibeo, who usually loves to sleep in, woke up at this time and stared at the milk bottle. Brother, what do you want to eat? Whatever. Lin Feng said without raising his head while busy feeding the baby. Liu Bo took the menu and ordered a chopped pepper fish head, a stir-fried yellow beef, and a blanched cauliflower. Lin Feng was holding Sibeo and feeding him milk. As Sibeo was drinking, he smiled at Lin Feng and touched Lin Feng's nose with his hand. Lin Feng felt warm in his heart, lowered his head, and patted Sibeo on the face. Sibeo, be good, drink milk quickly. Sibeo understood what Lin Feng meant. He drank the milk powder quickly. Lin Feng patted him to burp, and then put Sibeo back in the stroller. This time, Lin Feng brought toys for each baby. Sibeo's toy was a cute giraffe that could make a sound when squeezed. The 4 babies are now nearly 6 months old, and their strength is slowly increasing. They are very interested in things in the outside world. After drinking milk, they each played with their toys. Lin Feng didn't have to worry about it at all. At this time, the waiter came over with the dishes. Seeing the baby in the stroller, he couldn't help but admire. Wow, what a cute baby. And it's quadruplets, it's amazing. Lin Feng smiled and said nothing. After dinner, Lin Feng drove Liu Bo back to school. The two continued to discuss the opening of the store in the car. Finally, they reached an agreement that Lin Feng would take care of all the money matters. Liu Bo would be responsible for running errands, watching the store, and decorating the store. Brother, don't worry. I will definitely make our store bigger and stronger. Liu Bo patted his chest and promised Lin Feng. After sending Liu Bo Lin Feng returned to Rongtaehaoding and prepared to cook dinner. Not long after, Zhang Yuxi returned home. Smelling the tempting fragrance in the kitchen, a happy smile appeared on her face. "Hubby, I'm back." "Well, go wash your hands quickly, and eat later." Zhang Yuxi said then ran to the bedroom and looked after the baby. During dinner, "Honey, where did you take the babies to play today?" "I took them to see my dad off, and then we went to the pedestrian street for a while. I plan to open a store on the pedestrian street with Liu Bo." "What are you going to sell?" "Baby clothes, and then sell some other things." Zhang Yuxi nodded. "Will you be too tired in this way?" "No, I'm only responsible for paying the money. As for the management of the store, leave it all to Liu Bo. Since he stays in the dormitory playing games every day, he might as well come out and move goods, just as exercise." Lin Feng took 2 bites of food and said with a smile. The brands that he plans to sell in his store are all brands that the baby has used. As for the selection of goods, this needs to be decided by Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi. From socks to warm clothes, it takes 2 people to select them personally. It was not until 12 o'clock in the evening that Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi finished selecting the samples. "Honey, go to bed quickly, I'm going to change the baby's diaper." "I'm going to." Zhang Yuxi put on pajamas and jumped off the bed. In the next room, 4 babies were sleeping soundly. But Erbao likes to kick the quilt, exposing her belly, which makes her catch a cold easily. Zhang Yuxi covered her with the quilt and said with some worry, "Erbao always kicks the quilt, what should I do?" "It's okay, I'll get up and check at night." "Thank you, husband." Back to the bedroom, the 2 lay back on the bed. Zhang Yuxi tossed and turned, and couldn't fall asleep. Lin Feng came over and said softly, "Wife, what are you doing?" "I can't sleep." "Or, let's do some exercise, so that you can sleep better," Lin Feng said, and then he skillfully unbuttoned Zhang Yuxi's pajamas. "Husband, don't make trouble." Zhang Yuxi pulled up her pajamas and forced herself to sleep. With Lin Feng's current physical strength, if he tossed it again, it would be 2 or 3 in the morning. Last night, she had seen Lin Feng's strength. Zhang Yuxi was really a little scared. Chapter 41 New Store Opening. 3 days later, Liu Bo finished decorating the store. He also took advantage of his spare time to buy a large batch of goods according to the list given to him by Lin Feng. He did everything himself. He became more energetic. At this time, he was in the store, talking to Lin Feng on video. "Brother Feng, look at this store, are you satisfied?" In the video, Lin Feng nodded. "Very good. But we are about to open. Go get some festive things and decorate it. By the way, we also need to make a promotional poster and do some opening activities. For example, buy 1 get 1 free, 50 off for purchases over 200, etc." Hearing this, Liu Bo nodded in agreement. Brother Feng is worthy of being Brother Feng. He is always thoughtful. Otherwise, why do others drive BMWs while you ride a bicycle? Lin Feng thought for a while, and then said, "Let's do a full discount activity first. When there's a big festival in the future, we will do buy 1 get 1 free." "No problem." Liu Bo smiled and said, "Brother, on the day the new store opens, you can bring your baby here too. At that time, there is no need to hire a model, just let the baby be the spokesperson. After all, the brands sold in the store are the clothes that babies usually wear. This is the best publicity. Even my own baby uses this brand. That means that this brand is trustworthy in terms of quality and workmanship." In the evening, Liu Bo prepared everything that Lin Feng had told him to do. Lin Feng came up with another idea. "Our store is 80 square meters, and we can set up a ball pool in the corner and fill it with plastic balls. In this way, when mothers come to consume, the babies will also have a place to play." "Okay, I'll do it now." Liu Bo was busy running around, just like a business tycoon. Soon, he got the ball pool done. "Everything is ready, just waiting for the opening. Brother, a few days ago, I found a fortune teller. He calculated for us and said that tomorrow is a good day to open." Liu Bo suggested. Lin Feng didn't care about the date. "Okay, then open tomorrow. Wait for Teacher Zhang to go to work, you bring the baby over." Lin Feng looked at the bathroom and nodded. "Okay, you go back and rest quickly. You've been busy these days and lost weight. Well, I'll go back and dress up. Try to amaze everyone tomorrow," Liu Bo said, and then hung up the phone. At this time, Zhang Yuxi finished her shower and walked out of the bathroom. "Husband, What were you talking about just now? Liu Bo and I are opening that store, and it will open tomorrow. Liu Bo also asked me to bring the babies over to help promote the new store. Zhang Yuxi heard this, without saying much, but picked up her phone and walked to the balcony. Not long after, she returned to the living room and said to Lin Feng, "I've asked for leave from the department head. I'll go with you tomorrow and help you." After all, this is the first store opened by her husband. Of course she can't miss it. Hearing this, Lin Feng nodded, feeling warm in her heart. With Zhang Yuxi and 4 babies here, it will definitely be very lively when it opens. The next day, after breakfast, Lin Feng drove his wife and children to the pedestrian street. At first, Zhang Yuxi thought that Lin Feng and Liu Bo's store was in an inconspicuous corner. After all, the first step in opening a store is that the rent alone can block many people. But when Lin Feng took her to the busiest section of the pedestrian street, Zhang Yuxi was stunned. The store is actually inside the pedestrian street? And looking at a row of shops, Lin Feng's store is the largest. Zhang Yuxi is not stupid. Of course, she knows that the rent of shops in the pedestrian street is incredibly expensive. Just when Zhang Yuxi was stunned, a frog selling cubs suddenly appeared in front of the two. "Brother, look at my look, isn't it awesome?" Liu Bo's honest voice came from inside the frog's clothes. Seeing his outfit, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi were completely shocked. "Good guy. So you mean stunning the whole audience? That's how to stunning." However, Liu Bo's outfit is indeed quite in line with his temperament. At that time, it will definitely attract many children or mothers with babies. Lin Feng nodded, "Not bad, the image and temperament are very suitable for you." Liu Bo was very happy to get Lin Feng's affirmation. He hurriedly took Lin Feng and the others to the store, introducing them as they walked. "I plan to use half of the area of this store to sell baby clothes. The other quarter is used to sell baby products, toys and so on. The last quarter is the ball pool, and other entertainment projects." Lin Feng looked around and found that the decoration in the store was very beautiful and the layout was also very warm. It can be seen that Liu Bo has put a lot of thought into it. "Very good," Lin Feng praised. Liu Bo was very happy to be praised. "Teacher Zhang, do you have any ideas?" Zhang Yuxi was stunned for a moment, shook her head and said, "No, you decorated it very beautifully. Did you do it all by yourself?" Liu Bo felt a little embarrassed when he was praised by Teacher Zhang. He looked at the time, it was already 9 o'clock in the morning. "Brother Feng, Teacher Zhang. The fortune teller told me that we should open at 9 o'clock, so that we can last a long time. Let's clean up and prepare for the opening." Lin Feng nodded and said to Zhang Yuxi, "Wife, you stay in the store and collect money and so on. I'll take the babies and go outside to promote the store. Today is the first day of opening. Everyone is very excited and hopes that the opening will be auspicious." Lin Feng pushed a stroller and held a sign, standing at the door of the store. The sunny and handsome Lin Feng, plus the 4 cute babies, instantly attracted the attention of many people. The girls passing by couldn't help but stop and cast admiring eyes at Lin Feng. And those mothers used practical actions to support the handsome guy Lin Feng. Soon, there were more and more customers in the store. "The new store is open, everyone come and have a look. Our products are also used by our babies, the quality is guaranteed. Come into the store now, there is a 50 yuan discount for every 200 yuan spent." The 4 babies were also staring at the people coming and going curiously. Their naive appearance caused the female compatriots around them to scream, "What cute babies! Yes, they are really lovable. The clothes they are wearing seem to be sold in the store. Really? Then I have to go in and take a look and buy a few pieces for my baby." Under the influence of the crowd effect, countless mothers swarmed into the store. In less than 2 hours, the products in the store were snapped up. Liu Bo and Zhang Yuxi were both dumbfounded. They never thought that the business would be so hot on the first day of the new store's opening. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42, Earn tens of millions a year. I'll go get the goods. Everyone, please be patient. Seeing the crowded shop with mothers of all kinds and the empty shelves, Liu Bo took off his frog clothes and comforted them. Liu Bo's main job is to purchase and pack the goods. Zhang Yuxi was in charge of the cashier, and she was sweating and exhausted. Just when Liu Bo went to get the goods, those mothers were also very enthusiastic and came over to chat with Zhang Yuxi. Boss lady, are those 4 babies at the door all born by you? That's amazing. To be able to give birth to such cute babies, your husband must be very handsome, right? Of course, didn't you see the handsome guy at the door? That temperament, that face, is comparable to Takashi Kaneshiro. Boss lady, how did you do it, and you can still maintain such a good figure after giving birth? Yes, boss lady, just tell me, I'm about to give birth, and I'm worried about this. Among them, a pregnant woman with a big belly asked excitedly. Zhang Yuxi answered all their questions. After all, they were all mothers and had a lot of common topics. On the other side, Liu Bo drove a tricycle with a full truck of goods back. When passing by the door, he gave Lin Feng a thumbs up. Brother Feng, awesome. Lin Feng smiled, held up the sign, and continued to attract people into the store. It was almost noon when the flow of customers slowly decreased. Lin Feng put down the promotional sign, brought the babies back to the store, and made milk powder for them. Seeing the 4 babies, Zhang Yuxi felt that the fatigue on her body disappeared instantly. Liu Bo was also very excited. While counting the goods, he said to Lin Feng, "Brother, we made a lot of money this morning. 2 full trucks of goods, all sold out." Compared with Liu Bo, Lin Feng seemed very calm, and he seemed to be indifferent to praise or criticism. He believed that as long as he took good care of the children, there would definitely be more generous rewards in the future. This store is just one of them. Seeing Lin Feng's calm look, Liu Bo couldn't help but sigh. Such a magnanimous demeanor. So steady. He used to think that Lin Feng was not an ordinary person, and now it seems that it is true. What do you want to eat at noon? Lin Feng asked. Liu Bo was clearing out the goods, shook his head and said, "You take teacher Zhang to eat, I'll watch the store." Liu Bo is now like a cat that has tasted blood. He can't wait to be tied to this store. After all, he can get 30% of the store's profits. Whether he can reach the peak of his life in the future depends on this store. Lin Feng took Zhang Yuxi to eat, still the Hunan restaurant last time. While eating, Zhang Yuxi said, "I hope that business will be so good every day in the future." Lin Feng smiled, "Eat quickly, we have classes in the afternoon." Zhang Yuxi wanted to ask Lin Feng about the store, but didn't ask in the end. "What about you? Will you stay here in the afternoon?" "Yes." Lin Feng nodded, "We just opened today, and there is only Liu Bo here, and he is too busy. Wait a few days, I will recruit someone to help Liu Bo." "Okay, then I will come to see you after I finish my class in the afternoon." Back to the store. Lin Feng put the packed food in front of Liu Bo and motioned him to eat. After dinner, Liu Bo secretly took a nap while there were no customers. After noon, Lin Feng took the baby and continued to stand at the door to promote. More and more customers began to come to the store. Liu Bo was alone, busying around, looking a little flustered. Fortunately, Zhang Yuxi came over immediately after class. With Zhang Yuxi's help, Liu Bo was also much more relaxed. Taking advantage of this time, Liu Bo drove his tricycle to buy another batch of goods. When he came back, he did not forget to give Lin Feng a thumbs up. There were 5 of them at the door, like 5 gods of wealth, and the turnover was rising. It was not until 10 o'clock in the evening that the store was ready to close. The customers in the store left reluctantly. On the way back, Liu Bo lay in the car, exhausted, but very excited. As soon as he got home, he lay on the sofa. He took out his mobile phone and calculated the total flow of today. Zhang Yuxi went to take a shower, and Lin Feng put the baby back in the bedroom. At this time, the babies, who had taken a nap on the road, began to wake up. "Are you awake? Are you hungry?" Erbeo woke up first. Lin Feng scratched her little nose and Erbeo smiled. Lin Feng made a bottle of milk powder, held Erbeo and fed her milk. Erbeo drank very quickly and finished the milk powder in a short time. Erbeo is great. Lin Feng put Erbeo back in the crib. "Fuck. I made a fortune." At this moment, Liu Bo's voice suddenly came from the living room. Lin Feng was a little curious, so he left the baby's room and came to the living room. Liu Bo stood up from the sofa, dancing with joy. Seeing Lin Feng coming out, he ran over and grabbed Lin Feng's arm. "Brother Feng, do you know how much money we made today?" "How much?" Seeing Liu Bo so excited, Lin Feng asked curiously. Liu Bo stretched out his palm and shouted, 50,000. Hearing this number, Lin Feng was shocked. So much? Liu Bo nodded and said excitedly, yes. 50,000 a day, 1.5 million a month, that's tens of millions a year. Brother Feng, we are going to make a fortune. Liu Bo has never made so much money in his life. Seeing Liu Bo's excitement, Lin Feng smiled helplessly. How can you calculate it like this? The new store will definitely have the highest turnover. Our store can make 5 million a year, that's already very good. Liu Bo heard this and his expression drooped. But soon, he regained his vitality and comforted himself. 5 million, that's also terrifying. Well, as long as you work hard, our store will get better and better. Lin Feng encouraged him. Liu Bo patted his chest and promised, brother, I promise you that I will stay in the store in the future. I will live and die with this store. Lin Feng smiled helplessly. The middle school boy is full of joy. It was getting late. If Liu Bo went back to school now, he probably wouldn't be able to get into the dormitory. So he slept on the sofa and barely made do for the night. When he slept, Liu Bo's mouth was open, and I don't know what sweet dream he was having. Chapter 43 Meeting an Old Acquaintance. The next day, at 7 in the morning, Lin Feng got up on time and prepared to go to the kitchen to make breakfast. He found that Liu Bo had already gotten up and was about to put on his shoes and go out. Brother, I'll go to the store first. Lin Feng stopped him. Hey, have breakfast before you go. What time is it now? You go so early, and the mother hasn't gotten up yet. Liu Bo patted his head and suddenly realized, that's right, the mother has to take care of the children, how can she get up so early? Lin Feng made breakfast. At this time, Zhang Yuxi had also woken up and was washing up in the bathroom. Today's breakfast is a sandwich, pumpkin porridge, and a cup of soy milk. Lin Feng brought a breakfast to the table and said to Liu Bo, eat it quickly, it will get cold later. Liu Bo didn't hesitate to pick up the sandwich and eat it. Brother, you are really an all-round dad. Not only can you take care of children, but your cooking skills are also so good. You are simply a role model for our generation. Liu Bo praised Lin Feng generously. After Zhang Yuxi finished washing up, she changed out of her pajamas and put on work clothes. When they returned to the restaurant, the atmosphere between the three of them seemed a little awkward. Yesterday, she was busy entertaining guests in the store, so she didn't feel it. But now, looking back, Zhang Yuxi realized that she was a teacher. The two students in front of her, one is her husband, and the other is her husband's roommate. This feeling is very strange. Teacher Zhang, do you know how much money we made yesterday? Seeing that the atmosphere was a little awkward, Liu Bo spoke first and broke the silence. Seeing Liu Bo's smiling face, Zhang Yuxi subconsciously asked, how much? Liu Bo stretched out his fat fingers and said loudly, a full 50,000. Zhang Yuxi was shocked, so much? Brother Feng said that the turnover of the new store will be higher on the first day of opening. It may slowly drop later. Liu Bo added. But this store is Lin Feng's own. Even if it drops, it is pure profit. Anyway, there is no need to pay rent. Zhang Yuxi hesitated for a moment, then said, then I'll come over to help you after class today. Liu Bo glanced at Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded, okay, after today, we'll recruit people. After breakfast, Zhang Yuxi returned to the bedroom and said goodbye to the babies. Husband, I'm leaving. Lin Feng stood in the bedroom, showing an ambiguous smile. Wife, have you forgotten something? Zhang Yuxi blushed and said coquettishly, Liu Bo is still here. It's okay, he can't see. Zhang Yuxi hurried over and pecked Lin Feng on the face. Then I'm leaving. Liu Bo was standing in the living room. Of course he saw this scene. It can be said that he ate a lot of dog food. Arrived at the store. Liu Bo put on his work clothes and prepared to start work. Lin Feng stood at the door with his baby and continued to attract customers. Today's customer flow is even more exaggerated than yesterday. Many people came here specifically because they saw this store on Zaya at Hongshu and Weibo. Lin Feng never thought that the new store would become an internet celebrity store on the first day of its opening. Wow, there are actually quadruplets, so cute. They look even cuter in real life than what I saw online. Yes, especially the dad, he's so handsome. With his looks, figure, and temperament, I'm drooling. It's a pity that he's already taken, otherwise I would definitely get him, woo woo woo. Before Raymond Lam could do anything to promote the store, a bunch of female fans swarmed over, wanting to see the baby's true looks and Raymond Lam's handsome face. Before long, the store was already crowded. Is it you? Suddenly, a beautiful woman came over and asked in surprise. Did you open this store? Seeing the beautiful woman in front of him, Raymond Lam felt familiar. But for a moment, he couldn't remember who she was. The beautiful woman smiled and said, before in the boutique supermarket, you bought a baby clothes gift box from me. Have you forgotten? Hearing this, Raymond Lam remembered. It turned out that this beautiful woman was the shopping guide from before. The beauty looked at the busy Liu Bo in the store, and then said, I'm just looking for a job. Are you still hiring? Lin Feng was immediately interested when he heard this. What you think is what you get. Just when I was worried about the lack of an employee in the store, God actually delivered the goods to my door. System. Tell me honestly, is this your doing? Recruit. We are just short of people here. Go in and tell the fat man that Lin Feng asked you to come, and you can try the job today. The beauty nodded and ran to the store to help. 10 o'clock in the morning. Zhang Yuxi came to the store to help after class. Seeing the beautiful shopping guide, she recognized her instantly. The two chatted for a while, and learned that she was a new employee, and Zhang Yuxi took special care of her. The popularity of the store today is no less than yesterday. It's even more exaggerated than yesterday. Because there is obviously one more person in the store, but Zhang Yuxi feels that she is more tired than yesterday. Fortunately, Liu Bo learned his lesson and prepared a warehouse full of goods in advance. Seeing that the shelves in the store were empty, the beautiful shopping guide ran to the warehouse to count the goods to be put on the shelves, and her operation was very skillful. The beautiful shopping guide was named Li Xiaotong. She used to work in a supermarket, but she couldn't stand the harassment from her boss. So she resigned in anger. Just when she was looking for a job, she met Lin Feng and gave her this opportunity. Liu Bo was very satisfied with her work ability, so he discussed with Lin Feng to try her out for a while. If there was no problem, he would directly promote her to deputy store manager. Although Liu Bo wanted to make money, he still had his studies to complete, and he could only devote himself to work after graduation. During this period of time, let Li Xiaotong take over first. Lin Feng nodded and said that it was no problem. He was also very relieved about Li Xiaotong's work ability. At noon, the number of customers gradually decreased. Taking advantage of this gap, Liu Bo hurriedly drove to restock the warehouse. Lin Feng was busy changing diapers for the babies. But when it was Sibeo's turn, he hummed and moaned, looking unhappy. What's wrong, my baby? Zhang Yuxi held him over and said softly. Maybe he's hungry. Sure enough, as soon as Lin Feng finished speaking, he saw Sibeo, pouting his lips and sucking in front of Zhang Yuxi. Zhang Yuxi was amused and distressed when she saw this. After you feed the baby, let's go eat. Zhang Yuxi held Sibeo and walked to the lounge, lifted her clothes and fed Sibeo. Lin Feng also started to make milk powder for other babies. Seeing this, Chen Xiaotong hurried over to help. The babies grow so fast, they look different every day. I saw them before, and they didn't seem to be this big. Chen Xiaotong couldn't help but sigh. Lin Feng smiled and didn't say much. The last time I saw Chen Xiaotong was more than half a month ago. The babies have indeed grown a lot. Soon, Liu Bo drove the tricycle back with a full load. Chen Xiaotong smiled and said, leave this to me, you guys go eat first. Liu Bo looked at Lin Feng. After seeing him nod, Liu Bo grinned. Thank you for your hard work, I will bring you food later. Okay. At the dinner table. After listening to Lin Feng's story, Liu Bo realized that Chen Xiaotong had known Lin Feng for a long time. And she was also a shopping guide selling baby clothes before, so she was considered an experienced hand. I will definitely trust the person my brother found. Liu Bo said with a silly smile. At this moment, Zhang Yuxi's cell phone suddenly rang. She took out her cell phone and looked at it, and her face suddenly changed. Because this call was from Zhang Yuxi's good friend, Lan. Chapter 44 and Lan arrives. Yuxi. I'm already at Bain Airport, where are you? As soon as the call was connected, Lan's voice came. Zhang Yuxi heard it, looked at Lin Feng, and whispered, why did you come so suddenly? You didn't even say hello to me in advance. Do you think I'm stupid? If I say hello to you, you have to hide from me. Lan said, and began to act coquettishly, Zio Zixi, please come and pick me up quickly. In order to see you, I even turned down a date. Now I'm hungry and tired, and I'm almost dead. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Yuxi looked at Lin Feng, as if she wanted to say something but stopped. Lin Feng also heard the content of the call just now, and knew that it was Zhang Yuxi's best friend in Lan who came. So he said, "Wife, do you want me to take you? The pedestrian street is not far from Baiyun Airport, and it only takes half an hour to drive." Zhang Yuxi smiled and shook her head, saying, "No, you take the kids back first, I'll just call a taxi. It just so happens that my best friend and I haven't seen each other for several years, so we can have a good chat. Besides, she doesn't know you yet, I have to give her a heads up." Zhang Yuxi said, then stood up, kissed the 4 babies, and said, "Then, I'm leaving." "Okay." After Zhang Yuxi left, Liu Bo packed the food and looked at Lin Feng. "Brother, are you going home now, or to the store?" Lin Feng looked at the time, stood up and said, "Let's go to the store." At this time, in the store, Chen Ziaotong was entertaining guests. Liu Bo put the food in the lounge, then ran outside and brought back a crib. "Brother, I got you a crib. This way the baby can have a good rest in the store." Seeing this big crib, Lin Feng asked in surprise, "Where did you get this crib from?" "When I was buying goods yesterday, there happened to be a furniture store next door. I asked the boss to order one for me. It has just been delivered and is still warm," Liu Bo said honestly. Then, he and Li Ziaotong arranged the crib and put it in the corner. Then they got a curtain to block the light for the babies. The babies lay on the bed. Except for the eldest baby who was a little noisy, the others slept soundly. Looking at the crib, Lin Feng suddenly had an idea. He asked Liu Bo to find a sign. He wrote on it, "Cute baby is sleeping, please keep quiet, uncles and aunts, so that we can entertain everyone. There are many customers today, all of whom come for the 4 cute babies." Lin Feng did this. Not only can the baby sleep peacefully, but also can attract business. Brother is still smart. Liu Bo gave a thumbs up. On the other side, Zhang Yuxi came to Baiyun Airport and met Lan, her friend whom she hadn't seen for many years. "Yuxi, I'm here." And Lan waved to Zhang Yuxi, carrying a Gucci bag. Zhang Yuxi walked over, her face sank, and she said coldly, "What are you doing here?" Hearing this, Lan was a little unhappy. "Yuxi, we are good girlfriends for many years after all. What you said is a bit heartbreaking." Zhang Yuxi frowned, sighed and said, "Let's go." In the Western restaurant, there was a plate of steak in front of each of them. But Zhang Yuxi had a stern face, staring at Lan, and had no intention of eating. Lan put down her knife and fork, folded her hands around her chest, and turned her head away. "What's wrong?" Zhang Yuxi asked knowingly. "I don't want to eat anymore." "How can I eat like this?" "I don't want to eat." Zhang Yuxi's face sank, and she stood up and said, "Then why don't you go back?" Lan hurriedly picked up the knife and fork and said to please Zhang Yuxi, "Yuxi, don't be like this. It's my fault. I came here without telling you in advance. But I did this because I wanted to see the baby and I was afraid you would hide from me. If you want me to leave, that's fine. After I see the baby, I will fly back to Shanghai and will never disturb your life again." Zhang Yuxi glanced at Lan and said helplessly, "Okay. I knew you wouldn't drive me away." Lan smiled with a conspiracy. She looked at Zhang Yuxi and saw that she looked ruddy and full of energy. She knew that she was living a good life. She couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. After dinner, Zhang Yuxi went out on the pretext of going to the bathroom and called Lin Feng. Lin Feng was still busy in the store and it was estimated that he would not be able to go home until the evening. So Lin Feng told Zhang Yuxi to go to the supermarket to buy some ingredients and wait for him to come back to make a big meal. Zhang Yuxi felt sorry for Lin Feng after hearing this. "How about we go out for dinner? You've been busy all day and you must be tired. She's my best friend, so you don't have to be so polite." Lin Feng smiled, "Not tired, and your best friend just came. It's the first time we meet, I have to leave a good impression on her, right?" "Yes." Zhang Yuxi nodded obediently, feeling very sweet. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Yuxi returned to the dining table. Seeing Zhang Yuxi's happy face, Lan couldn't help asking, "Yuxi, what did you do just now?" "It's none of your business, eat quickly." Zhang Yuxi glared at her. Lan put on an expression of wanting to cry but not having tears. She was just asking casually, "Is it necessary to be so irritable? It is said that a mother's temper will get better, but why is her best friend getting more and more manic?" Leaving the Western restaurant, Zhang Yuxi took Lan to a nearby supermarket to buy ingredients for dinner. Lan's family runs a chain restaurant, so they have higher requirements for ingredients. When she saw the soulless vegetable and meat products in the supermarket, he immediately turned around and took Zhang Yuxi to the nearby vegetable market. Lan was carrying a Gucci bag and wearing high heels. Her pair of slender and white legs were particularly eye-catching. They looked out of place in the dirty and messy environment of the vegetable market. The uncles selling vegetables around couldn't help but glance at the two of them. After all, beauties of this level usually don't appear in the vegetable market. Zhang Yuxi ignored the looks of others and asked about the prices while selecting ingredients. Seeing this, Lan hurried over and gave Zhang Yuxi some pointers. This dish is not good, the one next to it is good. Seeing this, Zhang Yuxi directly handed the task of buying vegetables to Lan, and watched from the side. Not long after, the two bought the ingredients for the evening. At 6 o'clock in the evening, the two returned to Rongtaehaoding. Seeing the environment in the community, Lan was very satisfied, thinking that the rent should be quite expensive. The security guard at the door greeted Zhang Yuxi enthusiastically when he saw her appear. "Teacher Zhang, your husband didn't come back with you today." Zhang Yuxi smiled and said, "He's still busy and won't be back until later." Hearing the conversation between the two, Lan was struck by lightning and petrified on the spot. "Yuxi has a husband?" On the way back, she was afraid of angering Zhang Yuxi, so she asked cautiously. "Yuxi, well, do you have a boyfriend?" Zhang Yuxi glanced at her and said lightly, "Let's talk about it when we get back." "Well." Lan nodded. This time when they met, she was afraid that Zhang Yuxi would say nothing and bear it alone. But now it seems that it should be okay. At least, she did not hide the fact that she had a boyfriend from her. Chapter 45. He is my student. Back home, Lan took off her high heels and looked at the environment inside the house with a surprised expression. This house is pretty good. She found that there were men's slippers and a pair of sneakers on the shoe cabinet at home. I think they should be Zhang Yuxi's boyfriend. The two put the bought ingredients into the kitchen. Zhang Yuxi ran to the bedroom again and changed into a cool home dress. Lan did not treat herself as an outsider and began to visit the house. The layout of the house is very square and the decoration is also very good, which is in line with Lan's aesthetics. Coming to the balcony, Lan found that it can overlook the night view of the Pearl River. Now the street lights are lighting up one by one, and the scenery is very beautiful. Lan also noticed that the clothes drying rack on the balcony was full of baby clothes. Densely packed, no less than 10 pieces. When Zhang Yuxi left the Magic City and came to Guangzhou to get drunk, she only knew that Zhang Yuxi was accidentally pregnant. I don't know how many babies she gave birth to. Seeing Zhang Yuxi coming over, Lan asked curiously. When I go to other friends' houses, their houses are very messy when they have children. But I see your house is quite clean. Did you hire a nanny? Zhang Yuxi smiled. Nanny. Seeing this, Lan immediately shut her mouth. She was afraid that she would say something wrong and anger Zhang Yuxi. The child's father cleaned it. Zhang Yuxi said lightly, with a happy smile on her face. Lan's pupils shrank, and she asked in great shock, "The child's father? Is it the child's biological father, or the scapegoat?" At the beginning, there was another reason why she and Zhang Yuxi had a bad relationship. That is, the child's father disappeared, but Zhang Yuxi insisted on giving birth to the child. Zhang Yuxi looked a little speechless, and sighed. Of course it's the child's biological father. Not long after I gave birth to the baby, I met him again. Lan didn't know much about what happened 2 years ago. She only knew that Zhang Yuxi came back from studying abroad and found that her boyfriend cheated. So in a fit of anger, he went to Yangcheng to drink alone, which led to the following events. Now after listening to it, I just feel that fate is playing tricks on me. After listening to Zhang Yuxi's words, Lan suddenly found a very fatal problem. Yuxi. What does the child's father do for a living? How much can he make a month? Does he have a house in Yangcheng? Zhang Yuxi heard this and seemed to have difficulty speaking. Seeing this, Lan's heart suddenly skipped a beat. Is he a wage earner? I don't know if it was to comfort Zhang Yuxi or to comfort herself. Lan continued, it's okay, as long as you are motivated and willing to endure hardships, it's good. Lan, you know I'm a teacher, right? Zhang Yuxi glanced at her. Well, what's wrong? He is my student. Zhang Yuxi said lightly. Hearing this, Lan was stunned, and her eyes with false eyelashes were bigger than copper bells. Student, student. Doesn't that mean that he is younger than you, and you have to take care of him? And Lan looked at Zhang Yuxi stupidly with an unbelievable expression. Zhang Yuxi shook her head and explained, he is a student, but he is the one who takes care of me and the baby. What are you going to do now? He is still a student. How can you support the family by yourself? To raise a child, the monthly expenses will be quite a lot of money. Add to that the rent, and it will be at least 20,000 or 30,000 a month, right? You are teaching at a university now. How much is your monthly salary? You are supporting it all by yourself. You must be exhausted. And Lan said a lot of things in a row, and she was very worried about Zhang Yuxi. Zhang Yuxi poured her a glass of water. Don't get excited first, drink some water and calm down. And Lan picked up the glass and drank a few sips. How can you let me calm down? If the child's father is a rich man, forget it. But he is still a student. He can't even support himself. How can he support you? You are a pampered young lady. Now you are forced into this situation by life. Do you think I can feel good? At this moment, Zhang Yuxi's cell phone rang. It was Lin Feng calling. Wife, I'm driving now to take the babies home. I see the weather outside, it seems to be getting worse. Remember to go to the balcony and collect the baby's clothes. Zhang Yuxi smiled. Okay, I'll collect them now. Seeing this, Lan felt unhappy. It's like this. You still think it's sweet, right? I feel that what I said just now was really in vain. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Yuxi looked at the weather outside, and it really started to get worse. So she ran to the balcony to collect the clothes. Seeing this, Lan also hurried over to help, and found that the names were actually written on the clothes. Dabao, Erbao, and Sanbao. As Lan collected the clothes, the expression on her face became shocked. When she received the clothes of the 4 treasures, she felt them all over, and looked at Zhang Yuxi with an unbelievable look. Yuxi, how many babies did you give birth to? Hearing this question, Zhang Yuxi seemed a little embarrassed, and stretched out 4 fingers and said, I gave birth to quadruplets. And Lan was completely shocked. Yuxi? You are so amazing that you can give birth to 4 children. Zhang Yuxi glared at Lan fiercely. Lan hurriedly explained, I don't mean anything else, this is a compliment. But now Lan is even more worried. Raising a baby requires a lot of expenses. If you have to raise 4 at the same time, you will go bankrupt. Yuxi, I know what you want to say, but we are not as bad as you think. Zhang Yuxi put away her clothes and walked to the bedroom. Lan followed her. While sorting out her clothes, Zhang Yuxi told Lan what happened in the past 2 years. When Lan heard the origin of this house, her expression was a little shocked. Yuxi, you said this house is the child's father. Zhang Yuxi nodded. Not only the house, but also the car we are driving now is also the child's father. In addition, Lin Feng and his roommate opened a baby clothing store together. The business is also very hot. The net profit reached 50,000 on the first day of opening yesterday. Hearing this, Lan was even more shocked. Net profit of 50,000. Although her family is very rich, the market value of the chain restaurant under its umbrella has long exceeded 100 million. But it is still a terrifying thing that a small clothing store can achieve a daily revenue of 50,000 yuan. Zhang Yuxi nodded and continued. In addition, Lin Feng also takes good care of me and the baby. Every morning, he gets up and makes breakfast for me. When I get home from get off work, I can eat hot meals. I see all the hard work he puts into me and the baby. I believe that our future will definitely get better and better. Lan was silent when she heard this. After a long time, she said softly, well, I believe he is a good man. Men who are willing to sacrifice their careers for their families are rare. Yuxi, I have something else to tell you. What is it? Do you still remember Lu Boyu? Hearing this name, Zhang Yuxi's expression became a little ugly. Lu Boy was Zhang Yuxi's ex-boyfriend, who was introduced to him by her mother. Not long after they met, Zhang Yuxi went abroad for further studies. When she came back, a series of unpleasant things happened. Seeing Zhang Yuxi's face darken, Lan hesitated for a moment, but still said, Dujin and Lu Boy were together. Dujin is also one of Zhang Yuxi's best friends. Before going abroad, the 3 of them had a very good relationship. Later, when Zhang Yuxi went abroad for further studies, Dujin got together with Lu Boyu. Lan couldn't stand Dujin's behavior, so she broke up with her directly, and the 2 never contacted each other again. Zhang Yuxi didn't know about this until she returned to China, so she left the magic city and came to Guangzhou alone to drink. Dujin was actually there when Zhang Yuxi got drunk, but she had left when Lin Feng came in. And Lan, I've let this go a long time ago. Even if they want to get married, it has nothing to do with me. I just want to live my own life now and raise 4 babies. I don't want anything else. And Lan was a little unwilling. Yuxi, you can bear this breath, but I can't. I even doubt. At this point, Lan suddenly stopped. Suspicion of what? Zhang Yuxi asked curiously. Nothing, nothing. And Lan shook her head and changed the subject. When will the child's father come back? I want to see what he looks like. Zhang Yuxi smiled when Lin Feng was mentioned. The child's father is very handsome. And Lan saw Zhang Yuxi's infatuated look and didn't take it seriously. Over the years, I, and Lan, have dated at least 8 handsome guys. I want to see how handsome he is. He can actually capture the heart of our magic city's #1 goddess. Chapter 46. I suspect you are showing off to your husband. I'm so hungry. I'll go cook first. And Lan touched her flat stomach and wanted to run to the kitchen to cook. But Zhang Yuxi stopped her. You don't have to do it. Lin Feng said he would come back to cook. He can cook. And Lan said in surprise. Zhang Yuxi raised her head and said proudly. Of course, his cooking skills are great, even better than yours. And Lan frowned, looking a little bit dissatisfied. Listen to this, why do I not believe it? He is a college student, and his cooking skills are better than mine. Are you kidding? Zhang Yuxi smiled and did not refute. Wait for him to come back and cook a meal for you, and you will know. Okay. And Lan narrowed her eyes slightly, then I want to see how good his cooking skills are. As soon as the voice fell, the sound of the key turning came from the door. Zhang Yuxi fluttered to the door like a butterfly, with a happy smile on her face. The door was opened, and the first thing that came into view was 2 black baby carriages. And Lan came over and saw Erbeo standing in the stroller with a sweet smile. Oh my god, this is so cute. And Lan was completely captured by Erbeo's sweet smile. Erbeo grinned at her, then waved his little fists, very happy. And Lan couldn't wait to look at the other babies. Sanbeo was the most Buddhist, with an indifferent look, not even looking at Lan. Sibeo was lying in the stroller, snoring. Finally, it was Dabeo, who was usually lively and active, but now he was quiet. Staring with big black eyes, he kept staring at Lan. It was obvious that he was fascinated by Lan's beauty. Dabeo is so strong, he will definitely be a strong man when he grows up. And Lan looked at the 4 babies and couldn't even lift her head. Hubby, you have worked hard. No, Liu Bo is helping me. Just then, she heard the conversation between the 2. And Lan came back to her senses and looked up at the boy in front of her. He was tall and had deep facial features. Wearing a white shirt and black trousers, he looks very handsome. And Lan is considered tall among girls, but she is still much shorter than Lin Feng, who is 185 centimeters tall. Seeing the handsome guy in front of her, and Lan couldn't help swallowing her saliva. So handsome. She had never seen such a handsome boy before, and she was a little at a loss for a moment. At this time, Lin Feng also turned his head and looked at Lan in front of him. She is tall, with fair skin, light makeup on her face, and her clothes are a little revealing. The pair of beautiful legs under the short skirt are wrapped in stockings, and she is wearing Zhang Yuxi's sandals on her feet, which looks particularly sexy and attractive. Sure enough, the besties of beautiful women must also be beautiful women. But compared with Zhang Yuxi, Lan is still less pure and more mature and charming. Zhang Yuxi saw the 2 looking at each other, so she introduced them to each other. This is my husband, Lin Feng. This is my best friend, Lan. And Lan's face darkened instantly, and she teased, it's you, the one who doesn't recognize people after pulling up her pants. Zhang Yuxi's face darkened, and she glared at Lan fiercely. And Lan immediately became honest and didn't dare to speak. Lin Feng was a little surprised. He didn't expect Zhang Yuxi to be so powerful. Just her look can make Lan shut up. Zhang Yuxi turned her head, looked at Lin Feng gently and said, husband, don't listen to her nonsense. Seeing this, Lan was speechless and muttered in her heart. Sister, I'm helping you. If I'm not fierce, what if he bullies you in the future? Seeing Zhang Yuxi's little girl look, Lan couldn't help shaking her head, feeling very uncomfortable. Lin Feng smiled and changed the subject. Wife, I have fed all 3 babies. But Sibeo is humming and whining, and he refuses to drink. He is still hungry now. Zhang Yuxi picked up Sibeo. Little rascal, are you addicted to milk? I don't even want to drink milk powder anymore. Sibao didn't understand what Zhang Yuxi was saying, and just kept pushing against her chest. Zhang Yuxi said helplessly, "You are so bad." Lin Feng pushed the babies back to the room and put them in the crib. Zhang Yuxi ran to the bedroom, got a bottle of fresh milk, and returned to the baby's room. Smelling the milk, Sibao immediately started babbling. Lin Feng took the bottle, fed Sibao milk, and then burped him. And Lan stood at the door and saw this warm scene and smiled warmly. After finishing all this, Lin Feng remembered that there were guests at home. "I'll go cook." Lin Feng looked at Lan. "What do you want to eat?" Seeing Lin Feng asking himself, Lan also came back to her senses and smiled playfully. "I heard from Yuxi that your cooking skills seem to be very good." Yet, Lin Feng was not modest either. With a blessing of God-level cooking skills, he thinks he is still very good at cooking. And Lan recalled the ingredients she bought. Then she started to name the dishes. "I want to eat 8 treasure duck, crystal shrimp, green fish lung, braised pork, pickled pork with preserved vegetables, and finally a boneless duck feet." Hearing the latter, Zhang Yuxi was a little speechless. "You haven't bought duck feet yet, what do you want Lin Feng to do?" Seeing that her little trick was discovered, Lan smiled awkwardly. "Really? Then don't make this dish, just make the first 5. Okay." After Lin Feng finished speaking, he went into the kitchen to get busy. As soon as Lin Feng left, Lan couldn't pretend anymore, and instantly turned into a little fangirl and ran to the baby room. "My dear baby, your godmother is here." "Oh my god, how did you grow up? How can you be so cute? Look at your little mouth, your little nose, it really grows into my heart." As she said, she picked up the noisy dabao. "Oh, they are so chubby and pink, just like a big meatball." "You are still smiling at me? What are you smiling at? Are you fascinated by your godmother's beauty? Yuxi, you are so amazing. The babies you gave birth to are cuter than each other. I say, you have so many, can you give me one to raise?" Zhang Yuxi stood by and couldn't help rolling her eyes. "You are sick again, right?" At this time, Lan was almost crazy. She would pick up each baby and play with it. Seeing this, Zhang Yuxi reminded, "Be careful, don't scare the baby." Sure enough, the 4 babies were scared and cried. Lan was a little embarrassed, and hurriedly put the 4 babies back on the bed, then looked outside and said, "Oh, I'll go to the kitchen to take a look." Zhang Yuxi rolled her eyes at her. "Go. By the way, see my husband's cooking skills." Lan just walked to the door and looked back. "I suspect you are showing off your husband, but I have no evidence." Chapter 47 Reward Benefits Critical Hit. In the kitchen, Lin Feng was holding a kitchen knife and was processing the ingredients vigorously. He looked like a Chinese chef. His knife skills and techniques were just smooth and flowing. Lan stood aside and couldn't help but praise, "Not bad, there's something." Lin Feng's movements were not only chic, but also very sophisticated. If it weren't for his young age, Lan would have really thought that he was a state banquet chef. Not long after, all 5 dishes were ready. Lin Feng came out with a plate of delicious food. Seeing the dishes on the table, Lan couldn't help swallowing her saliva. "It looks good, but I don't know how it tastes." "You'll know when you try it later." After Lin Feng finished speaking, he ran to the bedroom and called Zhang Yuxi to eat. "Wife, it's time to eat." Zhang Yuxi nodded and walked out of the bedroom. The 3 of them sat down, and Lan picked up the chopsticks without hesitation. "Sorry, I'll eat first." After that, she picked up a piece of 8 treasure duck and put it in her mouth to eat. After chewing for a while, Lan couldn't help but groan. But she still resisted the urge to make an exaggerated sound. Seeing this, Zhang Yuxi smiled proudly. "How is it? Is it better than yours?" Lan snorted coldly and said stubbornly, "There are so many dishes. This braised pork is my specialty. He can't beat me." Lan likes to eat meat the most, especially the half-fat and half-lean pork belly, which is her favorite. She tasted all 5 dishes on the table, especially the braised pork. It melted in the mouth and the meat was fragrant. It was so delicious. She couldn't help it anymore and gave Lin Feng a thumbs up. "Delicious. It's really delicious." Zhang Yuxi couldn't help showing off. "Are you convinced now?" Convinced. A college kid can have such cooking skills. How could she not be convinced? After dinner, Zhang Yuxi wanted to wash the dishes. But Lin Feng's eyes drove him out of the kitchen. "Go and accompany Lan." Lan had been observing the two's movements, and naturally saw Lin Feng's eyes. Arriving at the baby's room, and Lan couldn't help but say to Zhang Yuxi, he is really good to you, and he is handsome, can do housework, and is also a good cook. He has a house, a car, and his own shop. Yuxi, I am really happy for you now. Zhang Yuxi heard this and smiled happily. And Lan asked tentatively, since he is so good, do you want me to tell Auntie and let her come to see you? Hearing this, Zhang Yuxi was silent. And Lan continued, the last time Auntie came to see me, she looked much more haggard. She missed you very much, and she also wanted to see the baby. Only when you become a parent yourself, you can understand the difficulty of being a parent. Of course Zhang Yuxi wanted to reunite with her family, but her father. I think if Auntie knew you are doing so well now, she will definitely be very relieved. As for Uncle, how about we keep it a secret from him for now? Zhang Yuxi finally loosened up a little after Lan's persuasion. I'll think about it. Looking at the 4 cute and well-behaved babies in the crib, Zhang Yuxi thought, if they make mistakes in the future, no matter how angry she is, she will forgive them, right? After all, they are all her children. How can she bear to never see each other again? In the evening, Zhang Yuxi went to take a shower. And Lan sat in the living room and secretly sent WeChat. Auntie, I'm in Yangchang. Yuxi is doing well, you don't have to worry. I will continue to persuade her and let her contact you. After taking a shower, Zhang Yuxi took Lan back to the bedroom. Lin Feng stayed in the living room. Because just now, Zhang Yuxi told Lin Feng to let him sleep with the babies tonight. She and Lan haven't seen each other for many years. If they want to sleep together, they can chat. Of course, Lin Feng has no objection to this. After all, his wife wants to sleep with her bestie, and he can't just go and join in the fun. At night, in the bedroom. Is he the one who takes care of the baby at night? Yes. Zhang Yuxi said with some self-blame. Every night, he gets up and goes to the baby's room to check. I really don't know how he does it. Unlike me, I always sleep until dawn. And Lan smiled. It seems that your husband really dotes on you. Zhang Yuxi smiled sweetly. What about you? Have you made a new boyfriend, fuck buddy in the past 2 years? I'll kill you, you stinky mouth. And Lan punched Zhang Yuxi hard and said unhappily, I have made a few boyfriends, but nothing happened. It's okay, take your time, a woman is still beautiful at 31. I'm still beautiful at 40. Indeed, indeed. They hadn't seen each other for nearly 2 years, and the two talked about many private topics. They fell asleep while chatting. The next day, Lin Feng got up early and ran to the store to help. Zhang Yuxi and Lan, I don't know if they talked too late last night. They slowly woke up until the sun was in the sky. And Lan, get up. I'll take you to the store today. And Lan rubbed her sleepy eyes and said in a daze, no, I still need to sleep. Get up now. Zhang Yuxi said in a tough tone. After breakfast, Zhang Yuxi took Lan to Shangxiajiu pedestrian street. From a distance, she saw Lin Feng standing at the door of the store handing out flyers. There were many people around him. Most of them were young women attracted by his appearance. Seeing this scene, Lan whispered to Zhang Yuxi. Yuxi, such an excellent man, you have to keep an eye on him. I believe in him. After Lin Feng handed out the flyers, he saw Zhang Yuxi and the others and hurried over. You are here. Zhang Yuxi nodded, I'll bring Lan here to see if you need any help, and take her to the pedestrian street by the way. We are enough in the store. Take Lan out to play. Lin Feng said, taking out a bank card and handing it to Zhang Yuxi. Take this card and go wherever you want. Zhang Yuxi refused, I have money. Lin Feng stuffed the bank card into her hand and said sternly, why are you being so polite to me? Seeing Lin Feng's firm attitude, Zhang Yuxi had no choice but to accept the bank card. Then I'll take Lan around. Call me if you need anything. Okay, go ahead. Leave the store. And Lan couldn't help but joked, Yuxi, your husband is so generous. I like it. Zhang Yuxi couldn't help rolling her eyes and said unhappily. He gave me the bank card, but he didn't tell you to spend it. I'll take you around. And Lan was stunned, ruthless. Let's go. And Lan still followed happily. On the other side, Lin Feng returned to the store to change the baby's diaper. At this moment, the system's voice suddenly rang. Ling, due to the host's successful entrepreneurship, the economic foundation for the baby has been laid and the responsibility of being a father has been fulfilled. 8 languages rewarded: English, French, Japanese, Russian, German. Get income critical hit, From now on, the amount earned by the host's business will have a critical hit effect, and the cashback will be doubled. Get the title of intermediate dad. As soon as the voice fell, 8 languages emerged in Lin Feng's mind. At the same time, his bank card also received a transfer message. It was exactly 100,000 yuan. That is, twice the amount of yesterday's store revenue. Seeing this, Lin Feng was very excited, and a proud smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The system really doesn't disappoint. Chapter 48 Stingy Zhang Yuxi. Seeing Lin Feng standing there in a daze, there was a strange smile on his face. Liu Bo hurried over and asked with concern, "Brother, are you okay?" "No. I'm fine." Lin Feng came back to his senses after hearing Liu Bo's voice. At this moment, a pair of foreign friends came to the door of the store. They seemed to be a newlywed couple. They didn't look like Americans. As soon as they opened their mouths, sure enough, they spoke French. Lin Feng understood. The things in this store are so beautiful. Let's buy some clothes and take them back. Okay, there are so many people here, which means the quality is very good. Lin Feng hurried over. As soon as he opened his mouth, he spoke pure French. "Excuse me, is there anything I can help you with?" Hearing this familiar voice, at first, the couple thought they had met a fellow countryman here. But when they turned around, they found that the person who spoke was actually a pure Chinese. "You actually know French. Did you study this specifically? You speak it so well." Lin Feng smiled. "I taught myself." The couple was shocked. "Then you are really a genius. Many of our local French people don't speak as standard as you do. I want to buy some clothes for my child. Do you have any recommendations?" Lin Feng nodded, "Of course." Seeing Lin Feng standing at the door, chatting with 2 foreigners, and he was talking in a language he didn't know, Liu Bo was completely confused. "Excuse me, how old is your baby?" "Almost 6 months." "What a coincidence, my baby is almost 6 months old too." The couple was shocked again. "You look so young, you're already a father." Lin Feng nodded, and followed a business boasting, "You are also very young, you look like my classmates." The couple smiled. "Are you a doctoral student?" "We are almost 30 years old." Lin Feng felt a little embarrassed when he heard this. "I didn't expect foreigners to be so direct. They really don't look young," but out of the principle of business boasting, Lin Feng just said a polite word. In order to ease the embarrassment, Lin Feng walked into the store and picked up a set of baby clothes. "This set of clothes is the best-selling one in our store. It's very suitable for babies of 6 months." The couple walked in, picked up the clothes and looked at them. Lin Feng then said, "Excuse me, is your baby a boy or a girl?" The couple narrowed their eyes and smiled. "We are twins." Lin Feng said congratulations, and then said, "I am quadruplets." "Quadruplets? Oh my god, you are so amazing." Lin Feng pointed to the lounge. "My baby is sleeping in there." As soon as he finished speaking, a babbling sound came from the lounge. He can now tell which baby it is by listening to the sound. Sibao. This little lazy pig, who sleeps all day, why is he making a fuss now? Sorry. I'll go see my baby. Lin Feng walked into the lounge and found that Sibao had pooped. He skillfully changed Sibao's diaper and wiped his butt. Sibao smiled happily. The couple saw the chubby Sibao and were almost melted by their cuteness. "Oh my god, he's so cute. He's wearing the same suit. Since even his own child is wearing it, it must be a very good quality." As soon as Lin Feng came out of the lounge, the foreign couple said to him, "Handsome man, give me 4 sets of this suit. 2 sets for boys and 2 sets for girls. And the toys and small accessories in the store are so beautiful, give me 2 sets of each." After a while, the couple left the store with large and small bags. It can be said that they bought everything in the store. And they started with 2 sets. Liu Bo walked over and looked at Lin Feng with admiration. "Brother, you are so amazing. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't know how to entertain them. This is a big order. This order alone is estimated to make thousands of yuan." Lin Feng didn't expect that he could use the 8 languages he had just acquired immediately. "Brother, what country are they from?" "French." "Then how do you know French?" "I learned it in class." Liu Bo was speechless after hearing this. "We are all classmates, why can't I speak French?" On the other side, Zhang Yuxi took in Lan to a nearby shopping mall to stroll around. Seeing all kinds of bags and cosmetics in the mall, and Lan's eyes lit up, and she wanted to go in for a shopping spree. But Zhang Yuxi held her wallet tightly and didn't want to spend money on her at all. And Lan was immediately unhappy and pouted and said, "You are so stingy." Zhang Yuxi looked indifferent. "It's not easy for my husband to make money, so of course I have to save some money." "Then buy me a cup of milk tea, okay?" Zhang Yuxi glanced at the price list and directly ordered a cup of the cheapest original milk tea. And Lan was furious on the spot. "Miss Zhang, can you be more stingy?" Zhang Yuxi heard this and said directly to the clerk, "Sorry, we don't want it." And Lan gritted her teeth and had to give in. "You are so cruel." In the end, Zhang Yuxi still spent money and ordered her a cup of original milk tea. When drinking milk tea, "Yuxi, how have you considered contacting Auntie?" The two sat on chairs in the milk tea shop. Zhang Yuxi looked at the pearl milk tea in her hand without saying anything. And Lan took a sip of pearls and said while chewing, "You are doing well now, and Lin Feng is also doing well. Tell Auntie that she doesn't have to worry about you. After all, both of you are wrong in this matter. Now each of you takes a step back and the mother and daughter are reunited. Isn't it good?" Zhang Yuxi frowned and thought seriously. Finally, she gritted her teeth and seemed to make a major decision. "Okay, then I'll call her tonight." And Lan smiled with relief. "That's right." Then, she took Zhang Yuxi's hand and walked towards the top floor of the mall. The top floor of the mall is full of luxury stores. Like Gucci, Prada, Givenchy, Bulgari, Chanel, etc., everything is available. Seeing these stores, Lan suddenly couldn't move her feet. "Yuxi, let's go in and take a look." Zhang Yuxi clenched her wallet and said in a deep voice, "I don't have money, don't think about me buying it for you." "Oh, can I buy it myself?" Zhang Yuxi followed her to a Chanel store. Both of them are peerless beauties. No matter where they go, they are the focus of everyone's attention. Especially Zhang Yuxi, with that delicate and flawless face, anyone who sees it will be amazed. And Lan is even more sexy and cold, wearing a low-cut short skirt. The boys passing by will pretend to be casual and glance at her chest. If there are people who know the goods, they may find that Lan's skirt is actually the latest model of Prada this season, priced at 80,000. And the accessories on her body are also luxury goods. The cheapest one costs 20,000 yuan. A set of clothes, without 500,000, it can't be down at all. So, the two entered the store. The attention of the beautiful shopping guide was focused on Lan. Because Zhang Yuxi, except for the ring, didn't seem to have anything valuable on her body. As soon as Lan entered the door, the beautiful shopping guide came up to greet her enthusiastically. "Hello, is there anything I can help you with? Where are the new styles of the season? Here, please follow me." The beautiful shopping guide took Lan to the side. Zhang Yuxi leaned on the sofa and said impatiently, "Hurry up." And Lan rolled her eyes, "I know." And Lan came out wearing clothes and said to Zhang Yuxi while looking in the mirror, "Yuxi, I suddenly remembered something. That Dujin, she shows her affection in the circle of friends every day, which is very funny. A few days ago, she bought a bag for less than 20,000 yuan, and even posted it in the circle of friends for several days, which almost made me sick to death." Zhang Yuxi said absent-mindedly, "Is it disgusting that you still read it? I blocked her on my main account. But I added her on my secondary account and scolded her every day under the circle of friends." Ha ha ha. Zhang Yuxi was a little speechless. In the end, Lan bought 2 pieces of clothing, totaling 60,000 yuan. Hearing the price, Zhang Yuxi couldn't help but frown. But Lan said speechlessly, "Miss, why are you frowning? You spent a lot more money on clothes than me before. And your family is richer than mine. As long as you are willing to go home, you can have a good life." At this point, Lan asked again, "Does Lin Feng know your identity?" Zhang Yuxi shook her head. "I don't know. I didn't tell him anything." And Lan said, "Oh," and then pulled Zhang Yuxi up, "Come on, buy one too, I'll help you choose." "No, what time is it now? I want to go back to see the baby, they must be awake." And Lan chased after him, muttering, "Married women are really scary. There is nothing else in their minds except their husbands and children." Zhang Yuxi rolled her eyes. "Who saw my baby yesterday and cried and shouted that he wanted to get married? I just slipped my tongue." Back to the store. "Business is still booming, you're back." Seeing the two, Lin Feng hurried to greet them. And Lan spoke first, "Yes, Yuxi is very stingy now. She doesn't buy me anything, and even chooses the cheapest milk tea." Lin Feng saw that Lan was holding 2 Chanel bags in her hands. It was obvious that she went shopping. Wife, didn't you buy anything? Zhang Yuxi shook her head. No, the clothes there are too expensive. What's expensive or not, just buy what you like. My wife is so beautiful, if she doesn't wear some nice clothes, wouldn't it be a waste of God's gifts? Hearing this, Lan kept nodding. You boy, you are very sensible. It's good to be willing to spend money on your wife. Zhang Yuxi smiled. Okay, next time I see something I like, I will buy it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49 Parents Call. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Lin Feng drove the two beauties home. As soon as they entered the door, Lan put the things on the table and took Zhang Yuxi to the balcony. Zhang Yuxi was a little confused. What are you doing? I'm going to feed the baby. Just let Lin Feng feed the baby. You have something to do now. What is it? Call your aunt. Zhang Yuxi was stunned for a moment and almost forgot about it. Call now, I'll watch you. Lan stood aside, staring at Zhang Yuxi closely. Zhang Yuxi took out her mobile phone and began to hesitate. Seeing this, Lan grabbed the phone directly, entered a string of phone numbers, and called. The call was quickly connected, and Lan was secretly happy. Finally completed the task assigned by her aunt. Hello, who is it? There was an excited voice on the other end of the phone. Lan listened and thought to herself. Auntie is really good at acting. Hearing this voice, Zhang Yuxi was a little panicked and didn't know what to say. Auntie, it's Lan. Lan said to the phone. Lan, have you changed your phone? No, this is my friend's phone. Guess who it is? Who? Your daughter, Sister Yuxi. Yuxi. The two asked and answered, and soon brought Zhang Yuxi out. Zhao Lizian was silent for a moment, then asked, Yuxi, is that you? Are you doing well? Zhang Yuxi took a deep breath and plucked up the courage to say, Mom, I'm doing well. The word mom made both mother and daughter's eyes red. Lan stood aside and added, Auntie, don't worry, Sister Yuxi is doing well now. As she said that, Lan handed the phone to Zhang Yuxi. You talk to Auntie, I'll go to the kitchen to check. After Lan left, Zhang Yuxi glanced at her phone and asked, Mom, how are you and Dad? Is Dad still angry with me? I'm fine, but your dad is not very well. He coughs often. That incident was a big shock to him. But as parents, how can we really be angry with our children? Your dad is angry because you ran so far away without telling us. You have been spoiled since you were a child. Now you are alone outside. How can your dad and I not worry? Listening to her mother's long speech, Zhang Yuxi couldn't help but shed tears. Mom, I'm living a good life now, really. The child's father. I found him. Hearing this, Zhao Lizian's eyes widened and said, Found him? Where is he from? What does his family do? Where does he work now? Suddenly, a middle-aged man's voice came from the other end of the phone. Lizian, who are you talking to on the phone? Hearing this voice, Zhang Yuxi hurriedly said, Mom, I'm hanging up first and will contact you another day. Okay, then I'll call you tomorrow. After hanging up the phone, Zhao Lizian raised her head and stared at the man in front of her with an ugly expression. He was Zhang Yuxi's father, Zhang Fuiong. Why are you staring at me? Zhang Fuiong said a little puzzled. It's all your fault. If you hadn't suddenly interrupted me, Yuxi wouldn't have hung up on me. Zhao Lizian said hatefully. Are you talking to Yuxi on the phone? Zhang Fuiong looked a little surprised. How is she doing? You ask me, how do I know? Zhao Lizian snorted coldly and turned her head away. Zhang Fuiong was stunned in place for a moment. Zhao Lizian became more and more angry as she thought about it, and then she scolded. Originally, everyone could sit down and have a good talk about this matter. But you insisted on severing the father-daughter relationship with Yuxi. 2 years are about to pass, and I don't know how Yuxi is doing. If I hadn't gone to find Lan and asked her to go to Yangcheng and have a good talk with Yuxi and let her contact me. Otherwise, even if we are in the coffin, we probably won't see Yuxi. Zhang Fuiong lowered his head and muttered softly, how is it possible? I am her father, she will come to us sooner or later. Hearing this, Zhao Lizian almost laughed out of anger. What kind of personality is Yuxi? Don't you know it yourself? She has been stubborn since she was a child. If you sever the father-daughter relationship with her, how can she come to you? Zhang Fuiong was scolded to death, and hurriedly defended himself. At that time, I was also so angry that I said such words. Tell me quickly, what is Yuxi's situation now? At this point, Zhao Lizhan became even angrier. You ask me, how should I know? I was just about to talk to her in detail, but you interrupted me. You want to know? Call her back yourself. Zhao Lizhan said, and threw the phone to Zhang Fuiong. Zhang Fuiong took the phone and looked at Zhao Lizhan timidly. You are close to your daughter, so you should call her back. I'll call tomorrow, they are having dinner now. Zhao Lizhan said unhappily. Zhang Fuiong did not give up, and continued, then call after dinner. Zhao Lizhan glanced at Zhang Fuiong. Okay, I'll call. Call before going to bed, okay. Hearing this, Zhang Fuiong smiled. Zhao Lizhan's mouth corners also rose, and she reminded, when I call later, you must not make a sound, understand? Then remember to turn on the speakerphone. Zhang Fuiong reminded. Half an hour later, Lin Feng and the other two finished their meal. Zhang Yuxi took out the textbook and prepared to tutor Lin Feng. And Lan hid in the baby room, playing with the babies. Zhang Yuxi turned off the silent mode on her phone, put it aside, and said to Lin Feng, let's get started. Just then, Zhao Lizhan called. Zhang Fuiong whispered, turn on the speakerphone. Zhao Lizhan rolled her eyes at him and signaled him to shut up. Sorry, the number you dialed is temporarily unreachable. Please call again later. Zhao Lizhan frowned and continued to call. This time, no one answered. Zhao Lizhan instantly got angry and turned back to glare at Zhang Fuiong. It's all your fault. Now my daughter ignores me. Zhang Fuiong looked aggrieved and whispered, how can I blame you? How do I know you are talking to my daughter on the phone? Zhao Lizhan ignored him and began to think. That's right. Call in Lan. And Lan was playing with the baby when she suddenly received a call from Zhao Lizhan. Hello, Auntie. Yuxi and the others are busy, they are not angry with you. Zhao Lizhan has sharp ears. When she heard the voice of a child, she was surprised and said, is that my grandson? And Lan smiled, but she did not intend to tell Zhao Lizhan the news. Otherwise, how could there be a surprise? So, she said ambiguously, yes, Auntie, but I can't take a video for you. You can guess whether your grandson is a boy or a girl. But I think you should guess wrong. At the end, Lan showed a sly smile. Zhao Lizhan heard the babbling of babies on the other end of the phone. She quickly raised the volume so that Zhang Fuiong could listen too. The couple listened and their expressions were extremely excited. They wished they could fly over now and take a good look at their grandson. Auntie, I'll hang up first. The baby is going to sleep. Hang up the phone. Zhao Lizhan looked back at Zhang Fuiong and said excitedly. And Lan told me that her grandson is very cute. Calculated, the child should be about half a year old, right? When Yuxi calms down, we will fly over and take a good look at the baby. And by the way, let's take a look at the child's father. What kind of person is he? Zhang Fuiong was just laughing foolishly. Hearing this, his face suddenly darkened. The child's father. Zhao Lizhan was stunned for a moment. Yes, didn't I tell you? The child's father has been found. Zhang Fuiong asked hurriedly, then have you asked Yuxi what he does? How old is he now? Where does he work? Zhao Lizhan rolled her eyes at him and said unhappily. I asked, and Yuxi was about to tell me. But you interrupted her. Hearing this, Zhang Fuiong was speechless. This hurdle. Why can't I get around it? Chapter 50. So, love will disappear, right? The next day, Zhang Yuxi drove Lan to school to play. Seeing the handsome boys full of youthful vitality in the school, Lan was so excited. Yuxi, the boys in your school are so attractive. Zhang Yuxi looked at Lan helplessly. This best friend of hers. Everything is good, but she can't change her lustful habit. Lan, go to the office and meet other teachers later. Don't mention Lin Feng, they don't know about my relationship with Lin Feng yet. Lan heard this and her expression instantly became gloomy. What do you mean? You got the certificate and gave birth to the baby, but he is still hiding it. What does he want to do? Zhang Yuxi explained, he wants to make it public, but I don't want to. Why? Lan was even more puzzled. Zhang Yuxi sighed and said helplessly, because I haven't settled down yet. If this matter gets out, I may not be able to keep this job. Lan nodded and didn't say much. After all, this kind of thing can be big or small. If it is used by someone with ulterior motives, It is very likely to lose your job. 10 minutes later. Zhang Yuxi brought in Lan to the office. This is my best friend, Lan. They are teacher Tang Zifan and teacher Han Wen, and this is teacher Luo. Entering the office, Zhang Yuxi introduced Lan to everyone. Lan was wearing a red ultra-short hip skirt today, and her figure was tall and sexy. The beautiful legs under the short skirt were exposed to the air without reservation, and the fullness of her chest was about to break through the restraints, looking very sexy and charming. The teachers in the office were very interested in Zhang Yuxi's attractive best friend. Especially those single male teachers, their eyes were about to bulge out at this time. Taking advantage of the gap when Zhang Yuxi was teaching, they came over and chatted with Lan. For this situation, Lan was also very handy, playing these male teachers around. 10,000 grasses passed through, but not a leaf was touched. Soon, Zhang Yuxi finished the class and returned to the office. She took Lan to have lunch with Tang Zifang and Han Wen. Lan was quite picky and asked Zhang Yuxi to take her to a Michelin restaurant. But Zhang Yuxi's next sentence made her speechless. I have no money. Lan. Tell me you have no money? Your store makes a net profit of 50,000 a day, and you tell me you have no money? Funny. Lan snorted coldly, waved her hand and said, I'll treat you, is that okay? Lan took the three of them to a Michelin 2-star restaurant. Lan ordered a few popular dishes, then looked at Zhang Yuxi and said, Yuxi, what do you want to eat? I have to breastfeed my baby, so I can't eat spicy food. Lan said oh, and then handed the menu to Tang Zifan and Han Wen. You can order whatever you want. Don't be polite to me. Han Wen heard this and immediately said with a smile, then I won't be polite. Well, you're welcome. Lan smiled and nodded. This Han Wen is very suitable for her eyes. Both of them are foodies, and they are also nymphomaniacs, and they are both sexy beauties. So they became good friends not long after they met. Compared with Han Wen, Tang Zifan seemed a little restrained. She only ordered a few cold dishes. In less than 20 minutes, all the dishes were served. Lan took a bite and it tasted very good. Han Wen also ate with relish, praising while eating. It's worthy of being a Michelin restaurant, the taste is great. But compared with my brother-in-law, I think it's still a little worse. Tang Zifan also nodded in agreement. Lan asked curiously, who is my brother-in-law? Hearing this, Zhang Yuxi almost spit out water. Today, I was busy with class and forgot to remind Lan that Tang Zifang and Han Wen had met Lin Feng. But they didn't know Lin Feng's true identity. Who is my brother-in-law? Of course it's teacher Zhang's husband. After hearing this, Lan nodded thoughtfully. She knew that Tang Zifan and Han Wen had both taught Lin Feng. At first, she thought they all knew that Lin Feng was Zhang Yuxi's husband. But now it seems that this is not the case. Lan looked at Zhang Yuxi. Seeing Zhang Yuxi blinking at her frantically. Lan also understood that they didn't know about this, so she agreed, well, his cooking skills are really good. After that, Lan was a little confused. Since Tang Zifang and Han Wen had taught Lin Feng, and they had also been to his house and eaten the food cooked by Lin Feng, how could they not recognize him? Soon, everyone had almost finished eating. Lan and Han Wen were talking and laughing, and they had a very good chat. Zhang Yuxi used the excuse of going to the toilet and ran directly to the cashier to settle the bill. Lan, this spendthrift woman, ordered all the signature dishes, and the cheapest one cost hundreds of dollars. Although 4 people only ordered 5 dishes. But in the end, it still cost more than 3,000. Zhang Yuxi's heart was bleeding. It would be great if this money could be used to buy milk powder for the baby. Now Zhang Yuxi is no longer a rich girl. She is Lin Feng's wife and the mother of 4 children. Of course, she couldn't be as extravagant as before. Before leaving, Zhang Yuxi packed up all the dishes that she hadn't finished. Lan felt a little uncomfortable when she saw her best friend become so frugal. But soon, she was relieved. As long as Zhang Yuxi felt happy, that was more important than anything else. Leaving the restaurant, Zhang Yuxi took Lan and prepared to help in the store. Tang Zifang and Han Wen rushed to school. Because Lin Feng brought a baby to promote in front of the store before. Coupled with the fermentation of the internet, the business in the store is still very hot. With the help of Li Xiaotong, Li Ubo was no longer in a hurry and began to become handy. Bozi, I may not come to the store much in the future. I'll leave this to you and Xiaotong. Can you handle it? No problem, Brother Feng. As for letting Xiaotong be the deputy store manager, you can handle it yourself. Okay. Pay her a higher salary. It's not easy for Xiaotong. I understand, brother. Liu Bao agreed to Lin Feng's orders one by one. After all, he was able to become a store manager and his deposit exceeded 6 figures. This was all thanks to Lin Feng's appreciation. Lin Feng treated him as a brother, so Liu Bao naturally could not disappoint his expectations of him. Zhang Yuxi and Lan came over. Lan held a takeaway box in her hand and joked to Lin Feng. Lin Feng, we packed it for you. Zhang Yuxi glared at her fiercely. This is your dinner. Who told you to go to a Michelin restaurant to eat? Lan blinked helplessly. Yuxi, so, love will disappear, right? Yes. Zhang Yuxi made a vomiting gesture. Back home. Zhang Yuxi and Lin Feng ate dumplings. Lan held the takeaway box and ate the leftovers from lunch. The more she ate, the angrier she felt. Finally, she put down her chopsticks, ran directly to the baby room, and complained to the babies. Look at your godmother, what a miserable life she has. I came all the way to see your mother, and she actually made me eat leftovers. My friendship with her for more than 10 years is not as good as her new husband. I am so miserable. Hearing the noise in the baby's room, Lin Feng curled his lips helplessly. He didn't expect that Lan was actually such an acting genius. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.